All right, let's get it. We are here back with another one. Let's go. Let's get it, man. Where you guys at? Salute. Shout out to Chris, man. I saw that video you sent me. I didn't watch the whole thing, but what can you expect, man? That guy comes from the manosphere, right? And unfortunately, not all of them, because I know some solid brothers in the manosphere, but a lot of those guys are no different than Officer Tatum. So yeah, I don't expect too much from dudes like that, you know. Yeah, man. Straight bozo. But the problem is black people still listen to these guys, right? And for what? For what? I don't listen to the majority of them dudes, man. They don't stand for nothing. They want to get on social media and talk about females all day. But when it's time to stand on business, FBA business, they start tap dancing for the Peckerwoods. You know what I'm saying? So no, I can't listen to them cats at all. But like I said, man, you're not really gonna find balance. And then the pro blacks, they'll stand on business when it comes with it, they'll stand on business when it comes to blackness, but they're not gonna correct the ladies. You know what I mean? They let the pro black men, the conscious brothers, they let black women run amok. And these black conservatives, they let white folks run amok. So it's like there's really no balance, man. You either gonna get simpery or coonery. Pick your poison. You're gonna get simpery or coonery from both sides. One side will engage in coonery, the other side will engage in tap dancing. Well, simping. One group is gonna simp for the women, the other group is gonna tap dance for the dominant society. So nah, man, you ain't gonna get no balance out here, man. I believe that I give some of the best balance in these spaces when it comes to female nature, when it comes to these political issues, these racial issues. I truly believe that I provide the most balance. You know, I'm not afraid to hold the ladies accountable. I'm not afraid to hold the white supremacists accountable. Sometimes you got to toot your own horn because other people pretend like they don't see it and won't give you props because they know that you're realer than them. So they'll go out of their way to ignore some of the realest stuff some of the realest shit. Oh, don't want to curse before the 5 minute mark. They want to ignore some of the realest stuff they didn't heard. Let me put it like that. But salute, man. And listen, man, I don't make videos every day about what women are doing. You know, there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place for everything. I need YNs and bangers to adjust their aims. Yeah. Their anger is directed towards the wrong people. You know, that's the reality when it comes to these YNs. You know, their anger is directed at people who look like them, right? What happened to court TV? You tell me. Anyway, let's get into this case right here, man. We gotta hit the like button, y'all. Let's get it.
Done defending a pretty high profile case that I think most of the world knows about. And a lot of folks have been asking a lot of questions. And usually I don't talk about the cases, but in this situation, given the negative attention and the vitriol and the racist threats and the death messages that myself and my family, I thought I'd address some things. And one of the biggest ones people have asked me is, why would you take on this representation? Now, first, I've been practicing law for over 25 years. Here recently and shortly, and actually throughout that entire time, I've represented 3 African American males who are accused of raping a little white girl I have represented an individual who was accused of killing a person, folding his body and sticking him in an abandoned building in Florence, South Carolina. I have represented a young lady who was accused of killing and drowning her newborn baby.
So he's making excuses for defending Rick Chow. Do you really think an Asian attorney will defend a black man who unalived a 14-year-old Asian kid? The Asian community would say he's a sellout as well. The Asian community wouldn't go for that. Let's be real. There's no way that an Asian lawyer, an Asian attorney is going to defend a black man who unalived a 14-year-old Asian kid. They're not going to do it. Let's be real.
I have represented countless individuals who have been accused of criminal sexual conduct, countless individuals who have been accused of child pornography.
And watch this buster right here make excuses for it. He's going to make a million excuses for why it's cool to be a sellout. You know damn well no Asian attorney is going to defend no black man that unalived a 14-year-old Asian child. There's no way they're going to do that. But in our community, we got Sambos like this.
So, represent an individual in Florence who was accused of murder, killing his rival along with his wife, who was also in the car. So there have been countless individuals who I've represented in the past. And so when someone says, "Why did you take this case?" I don't judge. God judges. If you pick and choose who are you going to judge in your cases, it makes you ineffective of what you're doing. And so people say, "Why this case?" Well, why not any of those ones with the outrage that has come forth? As criminal defense attorneys, we represent the Constitution. We represent individuals. And so when people say comments to me, and I've heard a lot of them like, "You didn't have to take this one." Well, I don't have to pay my mortgage either. But if you don't, they end up taking that from you.
This guy is a beast. I actually watched his closing arguments, unlike a lot of people that didn't follow the case but are armchair quarterbacks and don't even know the facts, which is one of the reasons why you get so many different people giving misinformation and drawing a conclusion based off of that. A lot of people are calling him a young Johnny Cochran. He is a monster. He is doing what he's doing. And if you listen to most people, they would lead you to believe that somebody that is accused, in which we know that in the court of public opinion is guilty until proven innocent, and the court of law is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, that based off of how they feel, you don't need adequate representation as far as what you believe that you're not guilty of, or fighting the prosecutor and trying to send you to jail for the rest of your life. But we need
the fact that he is still taken serious shows that we got a major problem in our community. And they're going to say, well, he teaches us about money. There's plenty of people out there that teach about money. There's not a sucker in the Sambo like him. There's plenty of people you can get financial advice on, business advice when it comes to business. There's plenty of people you can go to. The fact that black people still listen to him is like, whoa, that is crazy. It's one thing if you want to critique something he said. A lot of people want to hang on his panels, be friends with him, and just, it's ridiculous. The fact that any black person is friends with this bozo is mind-boggling. If a white man unalived your child right now, Anton would make an excuse for it. Literally, he would make an excuse for it. I'm speaking to all you bozos who sit on these panels with him. He would make an excuse if a white person harmed your children. Well, your kid should have been doing this and that. He'll make it. He's going to make an excuse for the white person. And the fact that you got black people who still hang with this dude is crazy.
Need people like him. They are necessary, and it doesn't matter how you feel about it. And for those of you that may not be familiar, this is the lawyer that is representing or represented Rick Chow and got the not guilty verdict from a case from 3 years ago that just recently went to trial in South Carolina, in which the young 14-year-old kid at the time, his name was Cyrus, he was carrying a gun, went into a store. The Mr. Chow, the son, and the wife all suspected him of stealing, And they asked him to take out what he had inside of his hoodie. He actually had a gun inside of his hoodie, and he didn't want to take that out, in which he fled. They chased him because they thought that he actually had stolen. There was also a history of theft at this.
Once you chase somebody, you can no longer make the argument of self-defense. If you're scared, you're not chasing somebody, right? So if the person is running away from you, they're scared. I can't claim self-defense when I chase somebody off of my property and I shoot them. Down the street. We're not even on the property no more. You're not even on the store property anymore. So once you chase somebody past the store property and they're running away and you shoot them, that's not self-defense. You're not defending yourself at that particular point. You're not.
Not restaurant, at this store, in which over 200 calls have been made.
This is what I'm saying. This dude is COINTELPRO. The white people are paying him. The white conservatives are paying him. And the fact that black people still listen to him is crazy. Anton Daniels should have got booted from the black community a long time ago. And you know what he's going to say? Well, I give jobs. There's white supremacists that give black people jobs every day. Man, nobody needs anything from you, man. The black community should have booted this clown a long time ago. The fact that he still speaks for the community and you got black people that still hang with him, what a total disgrace. What a total disgrace. Come on, black people, we got to do better, man.
People have made threats against the guy that owned the store before. Obviously, we know that black people are boycotting, and they tore up the store, even though the Mr. Chow guy allegedly doesn't own it anymore.
Listen, man, you can't claim self-defense if you shoot somebody while they're running away. If somebody breaks into my house, right, and I chase them down the street and shoot them, I can't claim self-defense. Now, if somebody's breaking into my house, I don't know who they are, and I shoot him, and he's inside of my house, well, I got a chance of beating that because he broke in my house. So my first thought is he's trying to harm me and my family. My instinct is to protect me and my family. So bam, I shot him. That makes sense. But when you chase somebody down the street and shoot them, that's not self-defense. Let's be clear.
Or so on and so forth. So it all becomes a race-based conversation. We don't see any boycotting inside of the black community for black on black crime. I just did a story that's going to be released of.
We don't see no boycotting in the white community for white on white crime. Shut your stupid ass up, man. Now he wants to talk about black on black crime. We don't see white people marching about white on white crime. A white man unalive Charlie Kirk. Huh? A white man did it. A white man shot up a church in Michigan and unalived a few people. You don't see white people marching in big numbers about white on white crime. No, you don't see that. Shut up.
Two people in a mass shooting that was shot dead. One is a sous chef over in Chicago, and nobody cares anything about it. But now,
yep, the white man shot up that church in Michigan and burned it down and unalived a few people, and no one cared about it. White people pretend like there's not a problem with violence in their community. Oh, well, he was a mental health patient. He didn't take his medication that day. They never talk about the bigger problem with violence in the white community. Every time a white person commits a crime, they isolate it by saying he was a mental health patient. He didn't take his meds that day. He was just crazy. He's not a reflection of the white community. Those are the excuses that they make for white men who commit violent crimes. Oh, he was a lone wolf. Oh, he's no reflection of the white community. He was mentally challenged. He didn't take his medication that day. He's a lone wolf. This is an isolated incident. That's the nonsense that white people say when they people commit crimes, violent crimes.
They're questioning him and asking him, why did he take this case to represent Mr. Chow? And it doesn't matter why he took the case. Everybody deserves representation. And he just so happened to be the best lawyer for the money, obviously, because he got a not guilty verdict.
When the individual came to me and requested representation, that's the second thing. Oh, you're just a token. You were just put on the team because you're black. I'm pretty fucking good at what I do. And I find insulted that for someone who would just say the only reason somebody would ask me for representation is because I'm black. If you check and see the things that I do, I am very damn good at what I do, and I'm a very good lawyer.
Talk
And
that
I will
talk.
not apologize for being somebody when someone needs a
Talk that
contact
talk.
and want a good lawyer. And the assumption is, which I hate, when someone says they want the best lawyer, by saying that, you're saying the best lawyer can't be African American.
Why would you defend an Asian man that unalived a 14-year-old kid? He chased him down and shot him. It'd be one thing if the youngster pulled out the gun in the store and they shot him. That would make sense. Then I couldn't argue that. Let me say this. If Rick Chow, let me blow this up. I need everybody that's watching to bless that like button. Bless the like button and quit playing. If Rick Chow shot this kid inside of the store because he whipped out the gun in the store, that would make sense. I would say, okay, well, that makes sense, because if you walk in my store with a gun out, I'm going to do the same thing. But when you chase this person down the street and shoot them, that's not self-defense. Let's be real. Let's be honest. See, I'm fair. I'm real. I stand for what's right. If that youngster would have whipped that pistol out in the store, then yeah, you could say, okay, that's self-defense. Because you pulled out a gun in my store, so my instinct is to protect me and my family. But that's not what happened. When you chase somebody past your property, down the street, and then you shoot them, that's not self-defense. You pursued that person as they ran away. You're not defending you're not defending yourself at that point. So I don't see how anybody can make an excuse for this, especially a black man, a black person. There's one thing to hear white people make excuses for. There's one thing to hear the Asian community make excuses for. But when you see black men make excuses for this is insanity. The fact that black people still rock with Tampon Daniels is scary. You talk about Steven from Django. You want to see Steven from Django in the flesh? Look at Anton Daniels. There he is.
That's disappointing on our parts.
As far as, isn't it funny how racism goes, in which black people don't like you when you're not a representation of what they believe should be happening, but they want diversity, equity, and inclusion, and for people to look like them in other spaces.
The legal defense. When a person comes to us and says the following sentence, look, a gun was pointed at my son. I thought he was going to die, so I fired and shot. That was the legal defense. There was nothing creative. There was nothing tricky. There was nothing fancy. That was the legal defense. Nothing was hidden. I don't want people to say there was all this great stuff. That was the legal defense. This was presented to a jury of 12 individuals, 7 of which were minorities, who heard that legal defense and said, yeah, that makes sense.
Jury of his peers.
I didn't create those facts. I'm also hearing, finally, probably most importantly, that that people are saying we need to boycott Sean Kent. I'm not fucking Target. I'm not TJ Maxx. You're going to boycott me. And then someone says, we're going to boycott him and we're going to take our problem to a white lawyer. Okay, yeah, that'll show me that we don't need him. Well, enjoy jail, enjoy prison, boycott me if you will. But I will constantly and always fight for what's right.
He talking that talk. He said, listen, enjoy prison. I don't care if you want to boycott. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. Do what you feel is best, big dog.
People sending the messages, and there have been some there have been some creative messages. I guess the number one is that you have no eyebrows and stuff like that, which I know is true. So there have been some very creative messages, but there have also been some insulting ones. And there's been a lot of people who have requested phone calls, and I've talked to them. If somebody sends me a message and it's nice and polite and say, I just disagree with what you do, I picked up the phone and
yeah, I mean, when you do anything for money, then yeah, you will defend an Asian that unalives a 14-year-old kid. That's when you're willing to do anything for money. There's certain cases that I just wouldn't take. I just wouldn't take certain cases, right? Because yes, money is good, but I'm not going to throw my people under the bus just to get this quick money. I'm not going to defend some Asian man who shoots a 14-year-old kid that's running away because you thought he stole a water bottle. There's no way I'm going to defend that.
I talk to him because I do think a system works better if you have an actual intelligent conversation.
Now, you know that most people don't want to have an intelligent conversation, They just want to feel what they want to feel in this selective outrage. There is no intelligent conversation when people are angry.
Everything is selective outrage. White people select what they're outraged about. Come on, bro. White people are very selective when it comes to what they're outraged about. Let's be real. Seriously. If a Chinese, let me give you an example. If a Chinese man would have shot a 14-year-old white kid, the white community would be outraged. They're not outraged because it happened to a black kid. So white people are very selective when it comes to what they're outraged about. What are you talking about, you bozo? White people pick and choose when they want to be self-righteous. When a white person commits a crime, they let it go. They pretend like he was defending himself. They'll make up some nonsense to defend that white person. So white people pick and choose when they want to be out, when they want to operate from a position of morality, when they want to speak from a position of self-righteousness. They are very selective when it comes to that. If it happens to a black person, they don't really care. If it happens to a white person, they're outraged. If Cyrus Belton, if I'm saying his name right, was a 14-year-old white kid, there's no way Mr. Chow would walk. There's no way he would walk. There's just no way.
I think there are problems with the way, and let me make this clear. The state of South Carolina did everything that they needed to do in this case. They tried their damnedest to present the case that they wanted to present. There's some very good lawyers in that office who I respect tremendously. And
all right, let's move on. Tampon is going to defend it. He's going to defend it. He's going to defend it. I think we know. Shout out to the. Let's go to Karmelo Anthony situation real quick. Hit the like button, y'all.
To our other big story, court was in session today in the murder trial of Karmelo Anthony. Anthony is accused of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet last year. Prosecutors rested their case this afternoon, so the defense began calling witnesses. Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom, but Fox 4's Alex Boyer was there today and picks up the story from there.
You know, it's been a very long week for everyone involved in this case. The judge chose to hold another full day of testimony on a Saturday. I can tell you that a key witness burst into tears on the witness stand, and the prosecution rested its case just before 3 p.m., calling fewer witnesses than expected. Now it's the defense's turn to present its case. Another emotional day of testimony inside the Collin County courtroom where 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony is on trial for the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
Eddie immediately starts crying. You know, the attorney goes up there and gives him Kleenex.
Court TV anchor Cody Thomas has been inside the courtroom watching the testimony. Thomas is talking about 18-year-old Eddie Parra. He was the Memorial High School student the defense maintains was the reason Anthony was at the Memorial High School tent that fateful day. The defense has referred to Parra as Anthony's friend, but when questioned by the prosecution, he didn't define their relationship that way.
We finally hear from Eddie, and Eddie all but says that we weren't really that good of friends. I just knew this kid because he was dating my what he called his cousin, but a childhood friend. Eddie's testimony, coupled with everybody else's, doesn't seem like he had any reason being under the tent at all.
But on cross-examination, the defense showed the jury several photographs of Parra and Anthony hanging out and seemingly having fun. Parra maintained they only hung out when Anthony's then-girlfriend was around, calling her the common link between them. Defense attorney Toby Shook asked Parra to demonstrate on him how he remembered seeing Metcalf shove or push Anthony before the stabbing. But it was when Assistant District Attorney Bill Worski asked Parra to describe the deadly encounter between Metcalf and Anthony that he broke down.
Then when Eddie describes it, when he lifted up his shirt and saw the hole, like he said hole, not just a wound, a hole. So that kind of gives you an idea maybe how big this wound was, this stab wound.
The state's last witness was Dr. Elizabeth Ventura, the Collin County Chief Medical Examiner who performed Metcalf's autopsy. Metcalf's parents and other family members stepped out of the courtroom prior to her testimony. Ventura showed the jury 4 photographs of the stab wound. She said the stab wound was 2 inches in length and noted it was, quote, gaping. Ventura added that the knife blade wound went through Metcalf's heart wall. She said the injury was not survivable and ruled the official cause of death stab wound of the chest, manner of death homicide, meaning it resulted from the intentional actions of another person. The state rested after calling 21 witnesses. Anthony's legal team maintains that the then 17-year-old acted in self-defense when he fatally stabbed Metcalf with a 3.5-inch folding knife. They have repeatedly pointed out that Metcalf was much
Hit the like button, man, for this real content.
taller and bulkier than Anthony. The jury now hearing their side of things. I talked to a criminal defense attorney not involved in this case.
What they're going to want to do is have witnesses that can establish exactly what was going on, what words were said, what actions were taking place. Defense is going to want to say that this was self-defense, and they're going to want to get those specific actions and words as well.
And the defense called 3 witnesses to the stand to testify before the judge called it quits for today. It's too soon to tell if Karmelo Anthony will testify on his own behalf. Keep in mind that the burden of proof is on the state. I can tell you that court resumes on Monday at 9 a.m. In Collin County, Alex Boyer, Fox 4 News.
Fox 4 News, man. So let's go. Shout out to Sean P, man. Shout out to Sean P for the 20. I appreciate you. NLR, man. Excuse me. Sean P blessed us with a 20. NLR blessed us with a 5. Shout out to the people for supporting the cash out. White lives matter, right? Yeah. White lives matter, huh?
Built on a lie. You believe are built on a lie. It's okay. First degree capital punishment.
We're going to stand by ours regardless. This is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Wow, those were the chaotic scenes outside of a Texas courthouse this week during the murder trial of Karmelo Anthony. Hello, everyone. This is the second hour of the big weekend show. It is day 3 of the trial of Karmelo Anthony, and he's accused of first-degree murder for the deadly stabbing of fellow 17-year-old high school student Austin Metcalf. Now, the alleged murder occurred at a Texas high school track meet back in 2025. The defense team claims Anthony acted in self-defense, while the state rested its case just moments ago after calling 21 witnesses. We have team coverage with former NYPD Inspector and Attorney Paul Morrow standing by. But first, we go to Brooke Taylor live outside of that courthouse in McKinney, Texas. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Tommy. Yeah, at the center of the prosecution's case right now are these students that were under the tent. They saw the stabbing and the moments leading up to it. More than 10 of these students and teammates testified in court yesterday and today. Now, many told jurors that they thought it was unusual that Karmelo Anthony, who went to a different school, was under their team's tent. The defense said that Anthony was sheltering from the rain and recognized someone there. Students testified that Austin Metcalf repeatedly asked Anthony to leave. Several recalled Anthony responding, "Touch me and find out." Now, jurors also heard that Metcalf made the first physical contact, but witnesses described it as minor. One called it a soft touch, another described it as a little push. They testified that moments later, Anthony pulled out a 5-inch folding knife from his backpack and stabbed Metcalf in the chest. The defense argues Anthony acted out of self-defense and fear. Now, one of the key witnesses today was a 17-year-old teammate of Metcalf's who was under the tent. He testified that Metcalf tried to avoid a fight, telling Anthony, quote, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." Now, jurors also heard from an 18-year-old witness today. This is important testimony because he knew both Anthony and Metcalf, and he was the student who Anthony was apparently saying hi to. He testified when Austin asked him to leave, quote, "Karmelo said, 'You'll have to move me.' Austin put his hand on his back. I saw Karmelo's hand go in the backpack. We're at a track meet. I wouldn't expect anything to be in there," Karmelo said. "Touch me, you'll have to move me and find out," trying to provoke him. "Then what happens?" the prosecutor asked. He said Austin puts his hand on him and falls back. "How was Austin trying to move him?" the prosecutor asked. He responded, "It was him trying to move him off his seat, a soft shove." The prosecutor then said, "What did Austin do?" The witness replied, "I see the hole in his chest and blood. he starts screaming for help. Now, the state's last witness was a medical examiner. The prosecution showed 4 pictures of Metcalf. His family stepped outside the courtroom so that they didn't have to see that. Meanwhile, if convicted of murder, Anthony faces up to life behind bars. Tommy.
Brooke Taylor, thank you so much.
See, the witnesses are going to make it seem like when you see, for one, they're lying. When you're trying to remove somebody, you're not being nice to them. You're being aggressive. I highly doubt that Austin Metcalf was, hey, guy, can you just move? Would you mind moving? No, that's not what he said. He was very aggressive. He pushed him. And listen, where's the black guy? The black guy who said it was 4 people that surrounded Karmelo. It wasn't just Austin and Hunter. There was 2 other guys. Then you got this big hillbilly pressing you, talking about get up or else. I'm going to remove you.
Joining us now in studio to break down the latest developments in this trial is former NYPD inspector and attorney, our favorite, Paul Morrow.
Get the likes up for your boy. The sooner you get the likes up, the sooner I'll drop this damn link and bring some people up to speed.
Paul, I could talk to you about this all day, but I'm very excited to get your take on this. They got 21 witnesses. Right. You've got these witnesses we just heard from Brooke Taylor saying that if Austin Metcalf touched him, it was a soft shove saying, hey, get out of our tent. Then you have, of course, the stabbing that led to the death of Austin Metcalf. How do you break this?
They're trying so hard to downplay it like he had no right to use lethal force. Well, where's the black guy? We need his testimony. He said there were 4 people that surrounded him, telling him that he needed to move. He warned Austin to not put his hands on him. Austin put his hands on him anyway. So he said, okay, well, you're going to find out. Listen, Austin Metcalf is not a security guard. It's not his job to tell anybody where they can and cannot sit.
This down. And second question, how does race play into this? Because the folks outside really want to make this about race. I'm not so sure that factors in legally, though.
No, legally, of course, race shouldn't factor into it, but let's be honest, it's going to be a factor if anybody is so inclined in the jury to listen to people that are trying to foment that attitude outside the courtroom. And if they can hear the noise, we've seen that so often here in Lower Manhattan, and to ignore it is naive. Let's review the facts as we know them, right? Not the testimony, the facts. Number one, Karmelo Anthony is in the opposing team's tent for no good reason. Number two, he's armed with a knife. All right, those are not in dispute. Those are facts. Then we get the testimony. He's there. He's asked.
If somebody tells you to not put your hands on them and you continue to do it, then you might suffer some consequences, right? Everybody should keep their hands to themselves. If it was such a problem that Karmelo Anthony was there, they should have got security guards. You should have said, security, can you guys remove this person? That's the proper thing to do. You can't put your hands on someone saying that I'm going to physically remove him myself after you were warned to not put your hands on him again. That's why you got security. Security guards should have did that. Austin had no business playing security guard, trying to physically remove somebody, trying to be a bully.
To leave. He doesn't want to leave. He says, touch me, you'll find out. According to the testimony, then Austin Metcalf puts a hand on him, gently shoves him, and then he reacts, reaches in, pulls out this knife. Why he had a knife at a track meet is going to be a big issue, I'm sure, going forward as we get to the defense and then, of course, the closing arguments. The action in this is going to come down to 2 areas. Number one, under Texas law, you can't provoke an incident and then claim self-defense. That's why I went into that recounting of the facts. He's in the tent, and then he won't leave, even after being asked numerous times. And he's from the opposing team, and supposedly they are strategizing how they're going to run the track meet, and so they want him out of the tent. And then the other thing is that your response, if you are threatened with force in Texas, is that your response has to be, quote unquote, reasonable. Even under the opening argument that his attorney made, which articulates the idea that Metcalf and his brother had sort of surrounded Karmelo, that doesn't, to me, rise to the level of pulling a knife and sticking it in somebody's chest. So I am hard-pressed here to see where they're going to go. They must have some really, really compelling witnesses on the defense side, because as of now, I don't see why they even went to trial.
Wow.
Paul, I find this case sad and disturbing, but also fascinating because I have, if you've ever been in the state of Texas, at least until recently, I know constitutional carry is a different thing, but to get your carry.
He said, I don't even see why it's going to trial. Of course, because Austin is white. If Karmelo was the one who got stabbed, he would defend Austin. Let's say if 4 black guys approached a white kid that was small, and the white kid pulled out his knife because the black people kept confronting him and putting their hands on him. They would justify why Billy pulled out his knife on those black guys. They would justify it. And you guys know I'm telling the truth. You know how white people are. They're hypocrites. Let's say you got 4 black guys telling this white kid he got to move, and the white kid says no. And they keep bullying the white kid, putting their hands on him. And the white kid pulls out a knife and stabs one of the black kids. The white community would defend that white kid for stabbing that black person. That's exactly what happened.
License, you have to take classes on what the self-defense laws are in the state of Texas. I think every state should do it, but I think it's really educational. And you learn the Castle Doctrine. You learn why Texas is viewed as a state that allows you to defend yourself in situations even though
exactly. Look at how they defended. Look at how they defended Daniel Penny. That crazy black dude didn't put his hands on nobody. If it was such a threat, they should have called the police. They justified Daniel Penny choking his black man out at the subway in New York. Every time a white person does something, they justify. And anytime a black person does something, he's guilty. He needs to go to prison.
Other states don't. Sure. But there are certain things that are consistent that you have to fear for your life, or and there's, the opportunity or your property. So I want to, take all subjectivity out of this and look at this and say, okay, if I want Karmelo Anthony to get off on this charge, if I want to put myself in his shoes and make myself believe that he was justified under this more loose stand your ground law in Texas, I don't know how you get there. How does the defense get there?
To me, it's going to be a pretty steep climb. I think what you likely will have to get from them is some sort of articulation that he was in genuine fear for his life.
Exactly.
Because he had to reach for a knife, that's bad enough. But then he stabs Austin in the heart, right in the chest. I mean, any 5-year-old.
Listen, when you stab somebody one time and run away, you were scared. That's somebody who was scared. That's somebody who's in defense mode, right? Now, if you stab somebody and you keep stabbing them, you're trying to take them out of the game. I've been around knife play. I've been in the streets. I haven't been in jail. When somebody's trying to unalive you, they hit you more than once. I seen a guy that was in jail, right? And I don't mean to bring up jail, but I got to bring it up because it's relevant to the conversation. This one guy stabbed this one guy. He stabbed him and ran, right? That's because the dude that he stabbed was attacking him. Now, when there's a hit, now let me say this, when there's a hit in prison, when it's premeditated, they're going to stab the victim multiple times because they're trying to get rid of them. When somebody stabs once and run off, that person was scared. He did it in defense. Real killers don't stab you once and run off. They'll sit there and finish the job. They'll go to work. So I know the instinct of a killer versus somebody who stabbed someone because they were afraid, because they were, maybe in defense mode. I understand the difference. Case analysis. Now, have you guys heard of case analysis? Case analysis, this happened in like Belfort, Texas, something like that. I can be wrong. He stabbed a Mexican kid, Jose Ramirez. Man, he stabbed Jose Ramirez like 9 times. Hit him in the back, hit him in the chest, hit him in the leg, hit him in the stomach. I mean, he hit this kid multiple times. So that was premeditated. Karmelo Anthony, on the other hand, stabbed once and ran off. You know why he did that? Because he was scared. He was defending himself. That's the only reason you do that. Hey, man, put your hands on me again. This is what's going to happen. That right there is a defense mechanism. You're telling the bully to stop putting their hands on you, and you warn them, you put your hands on me again, man, something going to happen. That's what you say. That's what you say when you're defending yourself. You're trying to neutralize a threat that's standing right in front of you. Let's go.
knows that's likely going. You know, it's to me, it's going to be a pretty steep climb. I think what you likely will have to get from them is some sort of articulation that he was in genuine fear for his life.
Exactly.
Because he had to reach for a knife, that's bad enough, but then he stabs Austin in the heart, right in the chest. I mean,
when somebody stabs and run, they were scared, bro. Somebody who has the intent to kill, they gonna hit you more than once. Big difference. Please study the psychology of a killer. I know it because I've seen it. I've seen it in action. It's kind of like somebody who punches somebody that's in their face and run. They really didn't want to fight, but they were just trying to defend themselves. The aggressor is not going to run off. That never happens. The aggressor will usually stand there to finish the job. They're not going to hit you once and then just run. No. People that do that are they're afraid. And then it's mighty funny that none of these witnesses are really saying they're not being honest about what happened. Well, he just shoved him. He was being nice to him. It was kind of like a soft shove. He was being nice. He asked him nicely, shut up, you're lying. We're not buying that. He was being nice to him. He asked him nicely to move. Well, Austin Metcalf is no security guard. That's not his job.
And, you know, any 5-year-old knows that's likely going to be fatal. Now, there is reporting from the police report that Karmelo's response was, he's not going to die. One of the cops says to him, you know, if he dies, your life has changed significantly, kid. And he says, he's not going to die. He was actually kind of casual about it. I don't think he quite realized what he did. So maybe he's going to say, hey, look, I didn't mean to kill him. It's going to be some sort of intent issue here. But he also made other statements that I think are going to cut against him. Like, for instance, he didn't say he threatened my life. I was terrified.
You can't prove that this was premeditated. That's just like, that's wishful thinking. If somebody confronts me, how is that premeditated? So that right there, the case should crumble based on that fact alone. You're trying to get a first-degree premeditated murder when Karmelo stabbed somebody who confronted him. Well, Karmelo acted in self-defense. He responded to neutralize the threat that was standing right in front of him. That's why he stabbed once and ran. Karmelo was no killer. I'm pretty sure he didn't even aim for the dude's heart. He just poked at him. He poked at him and ran because he was scared. I wish I was on Karmelo's defense team. I would bring up that point that when you stab once and run off and you got a gang of people in front of you, you did that out of fear. That was not premeditated at all. The fact that they're trying to say it is crazy.
He said he put his hands on me. That's all he said. That's not much of a...
Come on, man. Shout out to the FBA family, man. I need you guys to get those likes up. Get the likes up in a major way. We banging in this thing, man.
An articulation of
does that rate premeditation? If he says, touch me and you'll see what happens?
You know, in this, premeditation is much debated in law.
When you say touch me, you're gonna see what's you see what's gonna happen. That's somebody that's defending themselves. You know, it's kind of like when a bully walks up to you and they push you and you're like, hey man, quit putting your hands on me. You push me again, this is what's gonna happen. You're saying that because you're in defense mode at that point. You're not the aggressor, you're not the antagonizer. At that particular point, hey man, touch me again. Listen, we all been to school before. You know what happens when a bully get in somebody's face and a bully push the person and the person really don't want to fight, and they say, hey man, don't put your hands on me, man. You put your hands on me again, this is what's gonna happen. The person that says that is in defense mode. They're defending themselves. They're not the aggressor. They're not the agitator. They are not the instigator. That person is defending themselves when they say, hey man, don't touch me again. And if you do, there's consequences. How in the hell are you gonna look at that and say that's premeditated murder? Serious?
Like there are instances where people say it can be literally a second or two, but in this case, it really doesn't matter. The way Texas law is constructed, you have capital murder, that is if you are going to be put on death row, and that has a specific set of circumstances that are not present here, killing a witness, multiple victims, killing a cop, same thing in New York. But furthermore, he was 17 at the time of the crime. Even if he did qualify for the death penalty under the Supreme Court decision, he doesn't get it. So the most he's looking at is 99 years.
Paul, I want to ask you about the jury selection process. There was a report last week that there were 3 black jurors who were removed by the prosecution, and the defense objected to that, claiming that it was.
Get the lights up, man. Quit hating on the content. YouTube is sending out the notifications, but we got a lot. YouTube is sending out the notifications, but we got a lot of hate watchers that ain't blessing that like button. Let's go.
Racially motivated. However, the prosecution came back and said no, it was because they were teachers. And at least one of them was on record apparently saying that he would have had a very difficult time voting to convict because Karmelo looked like just a kid. Give us your read on that.
Yeah, so you knew in this case, as we've seen in so many cases, that there was going to be a lot of scrutiny on the jurors, right? And in this case, you're 100% right. They had 3 female black teachers who were the only African Americans apparently in the jury pool that made it to that point. The prosecution used their exemption right to eliminate those 3. The defense objected. The judge sided with the prosecution. But you're 100% right to focus on that. Why? Because that is almost certainly going to be an area of appeal. And, you know, I've seen it speculated online. I don't know that they would be this cute by half because you're playing with a young man's life here. But I've seen speculation where people have said things like, did the defense game that out knowing that they would like, because what the.
All right, let's see what Officer Tap Dance had to say. Officer Tap Dance, let's get it.
We have so much division in our country because some people are lying, dirty dogs.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
No, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
He was not an aggressor. Karmelo was not an aggressor.
Anthony's defense attorneys say he stabbed Metcalf, who was unarmed, out of fear, as a group was, quote, turning on him. But prosecutors yesterday in court showed jurors surveillance footage they say tells a different story.
If you're carrying a balance on your credit cards, that debt is.
All right, we don't want to hear about none of this. Let's get to the point.
2 different stories that are being told on the internet. And this is the reason we have so much division in our country.
What do you mean this is the reason? This country was built on white supremacy. What do you mean? When you think about, listen, homie, when you think about the problem, excuse me, when you think about the problem when it comes to anything, you got to go to the foundation. The foundation of this country was built on white supremacy. America was not fair. So let's not pretend like everybody came to America on an equal playing field. And this idiot got the nerve to say, well, this is why the country is so separated. Man, shut up. The country is separated because white people separated it. Who created separation, racism, hatred, and division in this country? White people. So stop pretending like black people had something to do with it. You got to go back to the foundation of this nation, and then you're gonna find the answer. Well, this is why there's so much division in this country because of what people are saying on the internet. Man, shut up. It's way bigger than what people are saying on the internet. We can go back to the foundation of this country and see who created separation, racism, hatred, and division. It is white tea folks, man. Black folks had nothing to do with racism or hatred or division in this country. The white folks created all of that. They're responsible for what's going on in America today. Don't try to flip it. Don't try to spin it.
Because some people are lying, dirty dogs that should be shamed. Roll the clip.
Calling it unjustified murder. So Karmelo Anthony is charged with murdering 17-year-old Austin Metcalf after admitting to stabbing him in the chest at a high school track meet last year. Police say the fight started because Anthony was under another team's tent and Metcalf told him to leave. Anthony's defense attorneys say he stabbed Metcalf, who was unarmed, out of fear, as a group was, quote, turning on him. But prosecutors yesterday in court showed jurors surveillance footage they say tells a different story. The footage, it's grainy and shot from a distance, but reporters inside the courtroom tell us it shows a brief confrontation between Anthony and Metcalf not a larger group, before Anthony runs from the scene. And that fight, it only lasted about 4 minutes or so. Jurors heard emotional testimony from Metcalf's track coach. He said that Metcalf was helping lead setup efforts that day, which basically means he was in charge of setting up the tent and equipment. The coach testified and said athletes don't just go under other teams' tents. This is something that's understood between the athletes. This case, it's drawn national attention with race becoming a major issue. The final jury does not include any black jurors. Prosecutors say this case has nothing to do with race and it should be decided on the facts. This trial is expected to last up to 2 weeks, Bill. And if he is convicted, Anthony faces up to life in prison.
From the watch and we shall. Brooke Taylor,
So let's
thank
talk
you.
about this for a minute. And then we got a bunch of clips for evidence purposes. The first thing is that it's very sad, and I think we all know it's a sad situation, but you kill somebody, man. And we just heard from the official news, I think that's fair to say, this is officially from the news, that court reporters are reporting what they saw. Unless you saying that court reporters made up something, I think it's fair to believe. We already heard testimony from the defense. No one was claiming what I'm about to show you. No one has ever claimed what I'm about to show you on this. The court reporters are saying that this did not happen. But this man right here, put him on the screen. What is he talking about? And I hope to God that it's a video out here that we ain't never seen. Because if this man is lying about what he's alleging he saw on the same video that lady just talked about, this that you should burn in hell for lying that hard. Roll the clip.
You seen the video on 2 hours. Was it clear enough or was it fuzzy or what?
No, it was clear. It was okay. It's clear enough where you can see the actual individual raindrops come by the cameras.
Okay.
That's how clear it is. You actually see them walking up. You see that Karmelo is already up under there. He's under there minding his business.
Dodging the rain or?
Yeah, it was still raining. You know, being from there, I'm from Louisville. So that day we were under a tornado watch.
Right.
We were under thunderstorm warning. And we know we had already had some light rain then, and it started raining again. Then it was over with for the day. Okay. So that's kind of what happened on that day. But they were at a rain delay already. And so during that time when that happened, the twins, their two buddies, and a few other kids.
It's mighty funny how he want to say that the black man is lying, but he never once said that the white people are lying. But the black man must be lying. Surely the white people ain't gonna lie. The white people are just so honest. They'll never lie. This black man, he's lying. Let's put him on trial.
A few kids involved with them. They were all coming from the direction of the middle school, coming walking back up.
Right.
On the video, you can see those 4 that actually was involved, and maybe about 3 or 4 others that was with them, skipping up, trying to catch up behind. One veered off probably toward his way to go to the coach and kind of distract him a little bit. And then the other 4 came walking together. One went in front.
Time out. He said one went to the coach to distract him a little bit. Well, where are you getting somebody distracting somebody? Are you indicating that you're saying that somebody went and they had a plan to go hurt Karmelo, even though he's under somebody else's tent, and one went to distract the coach while the others went over there to do what he's about to say next? Roll it.
Them went past.
Right.
The other 4 went and they surrounded Karmelo. You know, if you're Karmelo,
And they showed that on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see them walk.
I'm gonna
up.
say little
And
stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those 4. Here, there are 4 right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those 4. Okay. So they come up, they surround them, and this immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause, then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed, Hunter hit, and then everybody swung. But
He said Austin pushed, Hunter, his brother, punched, and then everybody jumped in. This man, I want to save this, because if he's right, but I ain't never heard this anywhere, and y'all just saw the evidence that they said that this didn't happen. But he's saying he got jumped by 4 people. He's saying he saw fighting and people jumping Karmelo. Okay, finish it.
So it's more than the twins that got some licks
All
on
four.
them. So
All four.
It showed that in the video.
Yes, in the video. So again, you got Hunter and Austin standing in the middle.
Okay.
And you have the light bright boy here, and you have the darker boy here.
Okay.
I think that's what I remember. So I have to go back and think about it. But that's where they were. One was going up and down while they were talking and kind of pushing or whatever he was doing. Austin and Hunter was in front. So where they're talking about grabbing bags, Hunter actually said that I grabbed his bag.
Right.
And then later on, he said that Austin threw the bag.
Okay.
Jeff also said the same thing. And so that's them both antagonizing. And we know under Texas law, I just have the fear that you're about to do something to me and you can get up out of here. Yeah,
No,
so you don't have to touch me. But at that point, he still stood there and stopped there. And whatever they say alleged was said, you don't know that until they get to it here. But once they did that, they start hitting them. Karmelo actually was able to back out and try to get away.
And then the thing is this. If that video proved that Karmelo was guilty, they would have already convicted Carmelo Anthony in a court of public opinion. That's exactly what they would have used the video for. See, the video doesn't prove that Carmelo Anthony was the aggressor. It shows the complete opposite. Because if that video, if Carmelo Anthony was the aggressor and the antagonizer, they would have used that video to convict him in the court of public opinion way before the trial got started. We already know. Anytime a black man does something, right, especially when it's harming a white person, and they can prove that with the video, they're going to show the video. There's no way that they're going to hold back on showing the footage if the footage will prove that Carmelo's guilty and it's not a legit claim of self-defense. The video shows the complete opposite. That's why they didn't show it to us. Anytime they can use a video to prove that a black man is guilty, they're going to use that video before the trial gets started. They want to convict you in a court of public opinion way before the trial gets started. But the reality of it is this. The surveillance video doesn't show Karmelo being the aggressor. That's why they haven't showed us the video.
So he was actually trying to get away. You don't know that until they get to it here. But once they did that, they started hitting him. Karmelo actually was able to back out and try to get away. So he was actually trying to get away the first time. Austin grabbed him, and you can see his hoodie coming out like this, and they brought him back in.
Okay.
And when they brought him back in, that's when you can see Austin put him in a headlock. You can see that all the rest of them are still hitting. That must be when the poke happened, because he was able to get out again. He backed out. He looked to the right. That's where the other little kid was filming, because they got some cell phone footage too. But that's where he was filming. He looked directly at him in his camera, and then he went this way to the left. He went down. He fell. And that's when they realized he was gone, because they were still punching. And when he fell, that's when they all turned around. They started chasing him. Austin tried to go chase him too, but he grabbed his chest. I guess he realized that something happened to him. And that's when he went down a little bit and he fell down. But all three of them were chasing. But Karmelo was so fast, he got away and went around to the coach. And so you can see them on the video pointing toward Karmelo and the coach.
All right. When somebody sent me this clip, and when I watched it, the guy does not seem like he's lying, but it's inconsistent with everything that's public, that's been published, and also inconsistent with the defense team that's defending Karmelo.
So it's inconsistent with the defense team who's defending Karmelo. So it's inconsistent. I don't know if that's true. That's what Officer Tatum is saying. He's saying the black guy is the only one with that story. No one else corroborates that story. He's the only one telling the story from this angle. I don't know, man. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Get the likes up, man. If we got 400 people watching, we need 300 plus 400 people who gonna bless that damn like button. Shout out to John J for the 5, man. Shout out to my man Trilla G for blessing us with a 20. Let's get some more you people to support this platform. We speak the truth. We don't hold punches.
But it's inconsistent with everything that's public.
When he went down a little bit and he fell down. But all three of them were chasing. But Karmelo was so fast, he got away and went around to the coach. And so you can see them on the video pointing toward Karmelo and the coach.
All right. When somebody sent me this clip, and when I watched it, the guy does not seem like he's lying, but it's inconsistent with everything that's public, that's been published, and also inconsistent with the defense team that's defending Karmelo. It's also inconsistent with Karmelo's statement. Karmelo never mentioned he was getting jumped by 4 people. He never mentioned that. Neither has his defense team have. And if you're going to stab Austin and the other guys are jumping you, you didn't stab nobody else. That does not add up. Here's another clip from the news, and this guy's telling a different story. Bro, the clip.
There are online rumors that started at least by some in the Anthony camp that he was jumped by 4 guys, and then his act was therefore in self-defense. And the video you're telling me does not support that allegation.
Not even in the least bit, Will, not even close. It was one-on-one. You can absolutely make out that there's 2 people that get into a scuffle. It's very, very short in duration. The contact between the 2 of them probably lasted less than 5 seconds. And as soon as the push went the other direction, which presumably is when he was stabbed, you can see everybody, completely scattered.
Now, I want you guys to put this in perspective.
So now we're supposed to listen to what white people say when we know white people got a long history of lying on black folks to get us convicted. Come on, man. The fact that any black people listens to this buffoon, the fact that anybody black listens to Anton Daniels is a downright disgrace. The fact that black people still listen to these individuals is crazy. If your kid was harmed by a white supremacist, Anton will make an excuse for the white supremacists. Officer Tatum would do the same thing. So the fact that black people still support these bozos is insane. That is crazy. These would be the same black men that will make excuses for why white supremacists harmed your child. Tampon and Officer Tatum will make excuses for the white supremacists. And then they'll sit up there and criticize your parenting. They'll say that you're not a good parent. You haven't set any good examples. This is why your kid was doing A, B to Z. And the white supremacists had every right to do what they did. Tampon would say that. Officer Tatum would say that. Both of them would make excuses for the white supremacists. Both of them.
One guy is saying, they both claim they're seeing this video. And the court reporters are claiming they saw the video, which just happened the other day. They showed the video to the jurors. This guy is saying he got jumped by 4 people. They beat him up. There was choking, like he got him in a headlock. Like it was all this stuff. And then the same people that claim to watch this, the court reporters and that gentleman that you just heard, said that it was clear it was only a short altercation between 2 people. How can both of those things be true? Somebody lying. Somebody's lying.
Let's say it was an altercation between 2 people and you touch me and I tell you not to and you continue to put your hands on me, I'm going to use whatever I got to use to neutralize that threat. Right? Daniel Penny choked out a guy who didn't put his hands on nobody. He was just disturbing the peace. Daniel Penny unalived a man who was just disturbing the peace. That crazy man didn't put his hands on nobody, but yet white people justify what Daniel Penny did to that man.
And the question is not if somebody's lying. The question is why. Why are people lying? Just tell the truth. I want to play a clip too. This is just indicative of what we're looking at. Not this one, the other one with the black girl that Savannah was asking questions to. Roll the clip.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're gonna stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
All right, time out.
We're gonna stand.
Maybe that's why ain't no black jurors.
White people stick up for each other no matter what. History proves it, right? History proves it. White people gonna defend white people regardless. That's what they do. George Zimmerman excuse for unaliving Trayvon Martin was he put his hands on me. but you followed this guy after you was told not to. You disobeyed a direct order from law enforcement. They told you to stand down and stop following Trayvon. George Zimmerman did it anyway. His reason for shooting Trayvon Martin was, well, Trayvon put his hands on me. Trayvon is a 17-year-old kid. George Zimmerman is a grown man. But they still justified Zimmerman shooting Trayvon because Trayvon put his hands on him. White people justified it. He even raised millions of dollars for George Zimmerman.
Maybe that's why no black jurors are on the jury team. Maybe that's why it's done. These black folks, and me and my mama, we were all talking about this last night, and I got a meeting to go to. But black people, I can't understand. Like when I was young, I was ignorant. I was a kid, and then I grew up and became a man. And I become more wise and informed about stuff because I lived a little bit, I studied a little bit, went to university, and all this other stuff. I am shocked when I see black people still thinking like I was thinking when I was 5. I don't understand how an adult could get on camera and say, we're sticking with ours. And she said, if you found evidence that Karmelo was wrong, would you change your... No. We sticking with ours. That is the craziest thing that one could say. You're going to stick with falsehoods because the kid is black.
They defended Daniel Penny because he was white. Huh? They raised millions of dollars for Daniel Penny because he's white. White people already raised $500,000, if not more, for Chud the Builder because he's white. And the list goes on. White people going to defend white people regardless. None of those white men who unalived Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old kid, was ever brought to justice. They got away with it. Nobody was held accountable. None of the white supremacists who bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma was held accountable. They got away with it. Why? Because they were white. Can't stand this fake ass clown. The fact that we got black people who still support these dudes is crazy. None of those men who unalived Emmett Till was brought to justice. They got away with it. Why? Because they're white men. Daniel Penny got away with unaliving a crazy man on a New York subway all because he was disturbing the peace. He didn't put his hands on nobody. They should have called the police to deal with the situation. Daniel Penny had no business putting his hands on that man unless you seen that man attacking somebody, which you didn't.
I would never get it. And we got other clips, other stories. I don't know if I'll be able to try to get to some of them. Maybe I'll do it in post-production. We'll put them out as individual videos. But we got a clip of these black kids robbing this Marine. These are teenagers. These are kids, man, robbing somebody, put the gun to his face.
White people have been robbing us for years, man. They've been robbing us for centuries. Cry me a river. White people bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, were never brought to justice. They destroyed Ocoee, Florida. None of those white supremacists were brought to justice. Same thing for many other cities and towns across the country. White supremacists were never held accountable for unaliving us and for burning our whole towns down, burning down our businesses. White supremacists were never held accountable. I don't want to hear nothing. Nobody has robbed people and gotten away with it like the white man has done in this country. The white man is the biggest thief and the biggest robber in this country. Nobody's a bigger thief than a white man. Nobody's a bigger manipulator than a white man. Nobody has practiced racism in this country longer than the white man. If we won't get technical.
Like I don't understand. And then black people want to act like it's the white man's fault. They want to act like the white man, everybody's against you. Y'all are cutting up. That Chinese man in that store killed that boy because he pulled a gun on them.
No, you chased him. If you chase somebody outside of your property, you're not defending yourself anymore. You can't call that self-defense. Now, if Cyrus would have pulled out a gun in the store and the Chinese man shot him, then we couldn't say nothing, because then the Chinese man could say, hey, man, I'm protecting my store. I don't know what this fool gonna do with that gun. So you would have the right to do that if he would have pulled out the gun in the store. If you chase somebody down the street, that's not self-defense. How you gonna chase somebody and be defending yourself at the same time? If you're chasing somebody, that means the person is running away. You're not defending yourself at that time. What are you talking about?
They've had to shoot people and fight. I don't understand. And then black people want to act like it's the white man's fault. They want to act like the white man, everybody's against you. Y'all are cutting up. That Chinese man in that store killed that boy because he pulled a gun on them. They've had to shoot people and fight people and call the police 200 times, not because he's trigger happy, because if he was so trigger happy, then nobody would go to the store and they would go out of business. No, it's because
you're not defending yourself. When you're chasing somebody down the street, you're not defending yourself at that point. If Cyrus would have pulled out that gun inside of the store and the Chinese man shot him, then that's a legitimate claim of self-defense right there, because someone pulled out a weapon in your store or your home. So you would have the right to, pow them. You would be in the right. But when you chase them outside of your property and you chase them down the street, at that point, you're not defending yourself. Let's be real.
Negroes don't know how to act. I'm telling you, I grew up in a black neighborhood. Black people don't know how to act in these inner cities.
And then to take it a step further, there's no proof that he even pulled out a gun. You're taking his word for it. Oh, well, he pulled a gun. You don't know if he pulled that gun. Where's the proof? What we do know is you chased him down the street and shot him. That's what we do know. How you going to be so quick to take the man's word? Well, he pulled a gun on me, man. That's why I shot him. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Where's the eyewitnesses? Let's continue. When you chase somebody down the street, if you're chasing somebody, excuse me, if you're chasing somebody, you're not defending yourself. The person is running away from you. At that point, you're the aggressor and they're running away. So how could you turn around and say, well, I was defending myself, when you're chasing the victim? The only way that would make sense, it would make sense if Cyrus pulled out the gun in the store and then you fired on him and you say, okay, cool. Well, I didn't want to take a chance. My family was in there. This fool pulled out a gun, so I did what I had to do. I would listen. That's understandable at that point.
It's crazy. And they justify it. And they stealing from Wang them. And they know they stealing because then they go tell somebody else to steal. We were stealing. When I was a kid, we were stealing out that store. And them Chinese people in there know we dirty. Stealing. Getting a bag of chips. Stealing out the store. And then we get on TV and go, man, they following us around the store. The same person saying they following us around the store is the same person stealing from the store. The same person buying boosted stuff on the street. They come by with polo shirts, $20. You know people stealing. You won't start a company because you know they're going to steal from you. I'm going to say this and I'm going to end the show. I put that on everything. A black person is not going to take over that convenience store. I put that on my life. No, I ain't going to put it on my life. I don't know. Somebody may get a wow her. I'll pay somebody $500. If a black person, I'm talking about a person that works in the store. I'm not talking about somebody that fund the store. A black person takes over that convenience store. I give somebody $500 if they do it. No black person is going to take over that store because they don't want to get robbed and be dealing with these black people either.
Okay, if they don't want to deal with black people, why did you put a business in the black community? Obviously, you want the money from the black community. If black people are so violent and dangerous, why would you put a business in the black community? How come you didn't put it in your own community? How come you didn't put it in a white community? See, I'm gonna show you how Officer Tatum is stupid and he don't make sense. If I'm an Asian man and I'm so afraid of black people, there's no way I'm putting a business in that community if I'm so afraid of black people. Shut your dumb ass up, man.
A person that works in the store. I'm not talking about somebody that fund the store. A black person takes over that convenience store. I give somebody $500 if they do it. No black person is going to take over that store because they don't want to get robbed and be dealing with these black people either. I can almost put it on my life, but I don't want to play with my life. I guarantee you, black folks that are entrepreneurial and they're making money and they're educated, they don't do business in the black community. For the most part, these Asian people will. That's why they got the hair places, the nail places, the convenience store that y'all still complaining about them owning, convenience store, the laundromats, all that other stuff run by everybody else with black people. Because the smart black people that want to make business or do business, they leave and they start a business uptown because they ain't gonna get robbed every weekend. Tell me I'm lying. All right. Love you.
All right, now let's go to Tampon Daniels real quick. I'm gonna let y'all hear what Tampon Daniels had to say. Hit the like button if you haven't already. The game is heavy, man.
And all of that stuff. And so I got a couple questions as an icebreaker for you guys about this whole situation before we get.
Listen, all those black people who sit on Anton's panel they're nothing but a disgrace. They're pathetic black people. They are. They want fame and attention so bad that they'll sit around a man who's a certified Sambo. If Anton, listen, if a white supremacist harm your children, and I'm speaking to the people that hang with Anton Daniels, if a white supremacist harm your children, this clown will make an excuse for it, and y'all still be hanging around this fool. See, Anton knows I can disrespect black people and they still gonna support me. I could kiss the behind of white people, but still get black people to come to my panels and support me. He has no reason to respect black people. Why? Because he don't have to. Anton will make an excuse of a white supremacist harm your children. I'm speaking to all you bozos who sit on panels with him.
Into 50 Cent, before we get into Jay-Z, before we get into Drake, all of that type of stuff.
Not stab someone in the chest and kill them because they touch you. I think a lot of what this case is going to come down to is going to remind us of what happened in the O.J. Simpson case. The race card is going to be played here.
A Texas student athlete charged with stabbing a football star from a rival high school to death is set to face trial this week. Karmelo Anthony, then a 17-year-old senior from Frisco Centennial High School, stabbed Frisco Memorial High schooler Austin Metcalf on April 2nd, 2025. After Metcalf asked Anthony to leave his team's tent during a track meet, prosecutors have claimed. Witnesses say Anthony told Metcalf, quote, "Touch me and see what happens," while reaching inside his bag before a brief scuffle, in which Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest with a knife. Anthony then allegedly fled as Metcalf bled out in his twin brother's arms. The case kicked off a major racial uproar online, with donations pouring in to defend Anthony. A family spokesman said last year that the money would go to, quote, "stand with us in the fight against white supremacy." As Anthony's lawyers say he acted in self-defense, the New York Post spoke with a criminal defense attorney to break down the case.
Hi, my name is Randy Zellin. I am a criminal defense attorney. I have been practicing for 38 years. I am a former prosecutor, and I have been an adjunct professor at Cornell University School of Law. First of all, when we're talking about justification, self-defense, what I am saying as a defendant is that I had a reasonable belief that someone was going to immediately hurt me.
All right, so I'm gonna just leave it there. All right, so the question that I have for you guys, the first question, I got a couple different questions, but the first question that I have for you guys is...
Shout out to Marcus Robson for the 5. Let's go.
Do you think that in today's time, and I had this conversation on...
Look at all these women. These women are just retarded. They just want attention. They're dumb. All these women are stupid. The men are stupid too. You want attention so bad that you will sit up there with this man with titties. Anton got big old titties, man. The dude got breasts. Anton got a triple D. This dude, his bra size is a D cup. This dude got a D cup bra size. And he sits up there, tap dancing, begging white people for acceptance, agreeing with everything that they do. You got a black man sitting up there with titties. He got D cups for breasts. He's talking stupid. He always got something negative to say about black people and always got something positive to say about white people. But yet and still, you got black people that are dumb enough to sit on these panels with him. The fact that any black people still deals with this bozo is crazy. This dude got D-cup breasts. He got titties. Look at them tig old bitties right there. He trying to hide them tig old bitties. Yeah, hide them titties. I know you got D cups for breasts.
Millionaire Morning Show. Do you think that in today's time that the rules of yesteryear basically indicating that it's innocent until proven guilty and that you're able to get a fair trial amongst a jury of your peers, do y'all think that it still exists for you to be able to get a fair trial, regardless of what side of the case that you're on? Do y'all think that it's possible for anybody, let alone this Karmelo Anthony kid, to get a fair trial, considering that we have social media and everything seems to be race-based? Do y'all think that it's possible to be innocent until proven guilty and to be able to get a fair trial amongst a jury of 12, pared down from 600, amongst a jury of your peers? Do y'all think that that's possible today, or do you think that everything is affected by popular culture and what's going on in social media?
I think yeah. I think he'll get a fair trial. I don't think the race component, like once they break it down and all the evidence is presented, I don't think that would come into question. I don't think I think we see race and we see everything on social media, but like in real life, I don't. Well, it is real life. Online is
You
real
said
life.
we see race, but you don't think that we
Well, I wasn't finished. I'd get there.
I'm sorry.
I don't think the white people by and large aren't racist. So I think he'll be fine.
He said white people by and large are not racist. I mean, are you guys buying that? Is it safe to say that most white people are racist? Because this clown on Anton's Pain said the majority of whites are not racist. Do you know that 85 to 90% of white people disagree with foundational black Americans receiving reparations? Why do they feel that way? Because they don't want your black ass to have no money. 90% of white people are against you getting reparations. But this fool said the majority of white folks ain't racist. Man, shut up.
Well, look at it from both lenses. Look at it from the black lens and also look at it from the white lens, because you're saying that white people. Wait. Let me back up for a minute. You said that you don't think that white people inherently are racist?
Generally, no. I think black people are probably more racist than white people.
Wait. But hold on.
How are black people more racist than white people when we never created laws to oppress nobody in this country? We never enslaved other people based on race in this country, right? We didn't benefit from Jim Crow. So how are black people more racist than white people? These are the type of people that come up to this dude's panel. These are the type of idiots that pull up to speak. Black people are more racist than white people. You don't have the facts to prove it. You don't have proof because it's not true. Nobody is more racist than a white man in America. No one. No one has been more vicious and racist than the American white man. No one can top the racism and violence of the white man in this country. No one. I got the facts to prove it. Study history. You ain't got to take my word for it.
Let me deep dive. How aren't there white people that are racist?
I didn't say they're not. Just generally they're not. Like generally,
In
like
general,
white people,
you don't think that white people are racist?
I don't think. No, I think generally white people like black people. Yeah, I think most of them they're good people. Yeah, I think they like us.
What?
Oh man,
interesting. I'm gonna play referee tonight. I'm not gonna really give my opinion too much because I want to hear what everybody else says. Because I already spoke about this on the Millionaire Morning Show.
Oh.
I mean, I think that it's definitely going to be a race thing. And I feel like he's probably not going to get a fair trial because back in the day, we didn't have social media like we do now. We had the news and they could hear what was going on in the news, but now everybody has a public opinion and they're saying this and they're investigators and they're getting their own facts. I think people are going to come in there with their minds already made up. Now, could they get some information that may change their mind? Possibly. But I don't know. I don't really see it being a great outcome because it sounds kind of bad. Like you were there with a knife. Why were you there with the knife? You know what I'm saying? You gave him a warning. Like it's just, I don't think he's gonna have a fair trial.
In his favor, or
anytime you got an all-white jury and no black people on it, that ought to tell you something right there. They didn't show the video, which ought to tell you something right there. Because if Karmelo, if the video proved that Karmelo Anthony was guilty, they would have showed the video a long time ago to convict him in the court of public opinion way before the trial even got started. Trust and believe that.
Or against him. Do you think that it's impossible for him to have a fair trial as far as like him being innocent or him being guilty?
No, I just think because everybody is out there making their own opinion of it and it's so public and it's going around so everybody can hear this side, everybody can hear that side. So people are already going in. Used to be back in the day, juries didn't really know much what was going on besides what was on the news. Well, now you have, like I said, social media. So we can find out way more about a family, way more about anything. I feel like that puts a lot of people that are going against the jury in a lot of trouble because I don't think it's going to be fair. They can say they're not out there doing research. That's a lie. We all gonna do the research. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just hope he gets some good people in there that don't look at race, they don't see color, and they actually listen to the facts of what happened. But still, the facts don't sound good if we be honest.
I think there's this thing called jury. What's it called? Voir dire or something. And I think that does a pretty good job of weeding out that. And everyone, there's people that they're clueless about this case. I don't know.
Shout out to Marcus Robson for the 5 on the Cash App. Shout out to Marcus Robson. Let's get some more people to bless the like button and support the content, if you will. Let's go.
I don't know. The jury pool currently like is 600 people. I'm sure out of 600 people, they can find 12 who are who.
But how do you know, right? Because anybody can say anything. And you can say, yep, I'm not biased, or yep, I'm not a racist, or whatever. How do you know if somebody really is what they say that they are, even if you're trying to vet through who your 12?
You ask them 50 million questions and give them their consequences for lying and hope you scare them enough to be honest.
But there are no consequences for lying.
Okay.
I think it also is based on the evidence that's going to be shown in court as well. Because there's I'm hearing that there's a video that they haven't really shown any the public, and that there might be a video. So if there's a video, then that would show more proof for them to kind of base it off of that, opposed to how they feel. So I do think social media can be kind of a damper on the trial because it kind of will make it more of a race thing. But I think if the evidence is more so pointing that he's guilty, then you can't really deny that. So race is definitely going to play a part in it regardless. And I think it will be a fair trial personally. And I think that even though, and when I say fair, I think that he's going to be found guilty of it. But I think his family and people that are supporting him are going to say that it wasn't a fair trial due to race. So either way you have it, it's going to be about race.
Yeah, I don't think you can get a fair trial anymore at all. I just don't. Social media influences too many people. Shit, the motherfucking judge could be influenced for real. We just live in. I think we need a whole new judicial system and a way to do this shit. For real, it's fucked up, man. There's no way that you can prove that anybody doesn't lean one way before they go into the courtroom as a juror.
Yeah,
there's literally no way to prove that. So it's just man, they could have it dead set that they want to get in that courtroom. They want to be a juror and they just want to fuck somebody over. They could have a bad day and just be like, hey, fuck all this, man. I want this shit to be over with. They don't listen to shit.
Let's bring up the homie Scoop. Scoop, what it do, bro? Yeah.
Salute, Red. Salute to the chat. Man, see, it's this type of mess that just messes us up right here, man. Just really burns me up. We got a whole panel of raccoons. A whole panel of them. Nobody can't figure nothing out. They're asking questions. You know, do you think you can get a fair trial? History ain't taught us nothing. When have we ever got a fair trial? Look at what they've done to us. They went to a whole court of law and still found us guilty. Have you seen the numbers of exonerations of us that get exonerated for crimes we did not commit because a jury found us guilty? That jury mess don't mean nothing, man. That jury mess is played out. Unless you gonna get half black and half white to give them some pushback, we ain't getting no fair trials. And when your life is on the line, man, it's about that fair trial. Because your whole life can change just off of whatever that verdict is. Because I know me, man. Ain't no way in hell you going to convict me of something I know I didn't do and I go sit in prison for the next 25, 30 years and then I get exonerated on the 30th year. I'm coming for next. I'm coming for next. Everybody got to go to jail as far as I'm concerned. Everybody sat on that jury I want in jail. The judge, the prosecutor, I want everybody in jail. I want everybody to go do what I just done. Period. Because I just did all this damn time. My life is over. Probably done lost my wife, my family, my kids, anything, every opportunity that I had. And I get out 30 years later, and let's say I'm, I don't know, 62. What I got to come home to? Everything is ruined. You done ruined my whole life. And the first thing you want to tell me is, I'm sorry? And then somebody might say, well, you can sue them and get some of that money. Do you know some states have a cap on how much money you can sue them for after you've been unfairly incarcerated? They have a cap. I just seen one the other day. The dude got a nice little amount and they took some of it away. But he the one went and did all that time. Ain't no way in the world you getting a fair jury from white folks. Man, I don't know why. I tell people they don't like us like that. The police and the judges and the system of white supremacy is set up for us to fail. That's why it's the way it is. It set us to keep them good old white folks safe from us. Just imagine they didn't have the police, the judges, and the jury. These white folks would not be out of line the way they is. Oh, we would definitely get our respect. We'd have been got our reparations because there's nothing to stop us from getting off in they behind. Period. Those are the protectors of them. You notice every time something happens, even when it ain't a big deal, first what they want to do, call the police. They want the race soldiers involved. Even when the race soldiers has nothing to do with the situation, they want them involved. And they figure that that's the way they level the playing field for them. The race soldiers enter, you get to go off in handcuffs, and everybody's happy. I personally believe Karmelo was defending himself. Like I said the other day, and I read the comments, somebody said in the comments, oh, well, if you told your kids that, your kids would have bad, why would I not tell my child to defend themselves? Like I said before the other day, half of you people ain't never been jumped in your damn life. That's not an easy win when you got 4 people you got to fight. And they hitting you from all sides. I ain't gonna say it ain't no squabblers out there that can get down for their grits and gravy, but most likely you probably finna catch a beat down. A few foot to the head, you might not come out. You might be in a coma. You fall because that's the #1 rule when you get jumped. Don't ever hit that ground.
Hey, because look, Scoop, look at the Ann Hetfeld case. They put hands on the dude. He hit the ground and died.
Exactly. It's my point. So everybody talking about, well, why not squabble? Because could be your outcome. Maybe Karmelo ain't no squabbler. If anybody look at him, do that boy look like a squabbler?
Man, them white boys, hey, them some country corn-fed white boys that play football, man.
Exactly. Hey, they ready to WWE his behind.
Yeah.
And look where he's sitting, Red. He up there on them benches. One imbalance off the bench he may never wake up. But I guess that's okay. I guess them good old folks would have loved for that to happen, right? Austin would have still walked. If he hurt Karmelo, man, you look. That's the same thing I would have told my kids. You got one life. If you feel your life is in danger, do whatever you got to do. This ain't no video game. Ain't no reset button. Ain't no coming back trying to fix it. Ain't no coming back trying to make a better decision. Rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 any day. Because you don't know what these folks going to do to you. I can just imagine Karmelo sitting down and you look up and you got all these bullies around you and they telling you what they going to do to you. Oh, yeah, I believe the story of the man. I believe they was whooping on his behind and Karmelo did what he had to do to get up out of there. It wasn't the point for him to take a life. He trying to get up out of there. He like, man, I'm tired of taking these licks, these punches every which way. And like I said, to some of y'all, right? Some of y'all that said, well, he should have did this, he should have do that. Let me bring 4 of my boys to you. I got some squabblers, and let them surround you and let's see how you fare. And I'm gonna give you a pocket knife and see what you're willing to do. When all this, it's nice to say it until them lefts and them rights get to hitting you every which way until they knock you to that ground and they putting them boots all up in your grill. Ain't no mercy. This ain't no fair. When they do, hey Red, where they do fair ones at? Because that's where I want to know. Last I checked, ain't no fair ones. Period. You better do what you got to do unless you want to be seeing the dentist, unless you want to be seeing somebody about your brain injuries, unless you want to see somebody about that crooked nose they broke that you got to live with the rest of your life. Because guess what they going to do? They going to be over there laughing. They going to go on with their life. It's your life that's messed up. It's you that's walking with a gimp after that. But this man didn't do what he's supposed to do. Karmelo did exactly what he was supposed to do because you cannot tell him what fear he was in at that time. Because I ain't seen nobody yet not show no fear when you're surrounded by 4 or 5 or 6. They don't show no mercy on you. You get what you get and you hope the outcome is in your favor. Because I done been jumped 5 times and I'm not scared to sit here and say I lost every single time. And I ain't no little dude. But when people came to jump me, they didn't bring 1 or 2. They brought 4, 5, and 6 of them to jump on me. So I got to fight for my life. There ain't no guarantee you going to come out of that. And that's probably what was in Karmelo's head. Hey, man, I'm not going to let them fools sit up here and beat on me. I'm going to give them that warning. Let's see if that works. Because I guarantee if they had heeded that warning, Austin's ass would have still been alive. When he said, touch me again and see what happened, you had the opportunity to turn and walk away. They want to tell Melo to walk away, but Melo was sitting there minding his own black business. So you want the person to walk away who they approach. And where they do that at, that's another thing I want to know. Where they been at. Some of y'all ain't never been in the streets in your life. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I've been in these streets. There ain't no walking away. It's what you gonna do next, because you think they're gonna let you. People have died, Red, from turning trying to walk away. You better not turn your back, because if somebody's intending on a confrontation, you gonna get that energy. They gonna give it to you, whether you want it or not. You just better figure out what you gonna do to try to counteract it for you to get up out of there. And they already said when Melo poked him, he ran. And he ran to a coach. He didn't run and leave. He didn't run to go home. He ran to an authority. Why didn't Austin run to somebody of authority? That's what he should have done. But he messed around and decided he was going to F-A-N-F-O, put his hands on that black boy, because I guarantee that whole neighborhood is racist. I can guarantee he going to put his hands. How dare this black boy tell me, does he see who I am? What I look like, and I got my big old brother standing next to me. You gonna put your hand, you gonna tell me I bet not put my hands on you and gonna see what happens? Guarantee he rolled up those sleeves. Well, let's test the waters then. Let's see if this little frail little black boy is about that life. And that's what got him unalive, because he took the wrong approach. Austin ain't no, people say, well, Austin, he was left. I don't care. Austin ain't no authority. He a kid. He a kid. He ain't got no authority. He ain't got no deputy badge. Who deputized him and told him to run things? He wasn't even there when Karmelo's. He came later and didn't want to try to start telling people who can and can't sit up under. When Karmelo told him Red the first time, however he told him, I'm not going nowhere. Why did he walk his happy fat ass down them damn steps and go find somebody of authority to tell Karmelo, hey man, you need to, I'm Coach Wooty Whoop, or I'm this and that. Man, we need you to leave. Why didn't he do that? So what does that tell me? That tells me who was the aggressor. That was Austin that was the aggressor. Because if you look at the video in the very beginning, when this first happened, Hunter said they do everything together. He said, I got my brother's back. If something's happening to him, yeah, I'm going to basically be a part of it and jump in it. He's the one that had his mama up there bumping him, trying to tell him not to say nothing. You see what I'm saying? So that's a lie. I don't believe that. I'm not trying to hear that. He telling stories, Red, 100% stories.
Yeah, I agree, man. Shout out to Scoop for dropping that. Let me see who else we got up here, man. Yeah, Scoop definitely brought the heat, man. Let me bring up Delano. Delano, what's good, bro? What's your name? Go ahead. You got it. He ain't up there no more. Let me bring up Dre. Dre, you got it, bro.
Oh, what's up, bro? I mean, go, bro. School, shout out to school, bro. You cooking up there. I want to respond to that panel because they saying that, you know, white people cannot be racist. Well, we got to educate a lot of these politically uneducated. All white people are racist, but all white people are not bigots. Racism don't have nothing to do with emotions, hate, or feelings. It is business. It's nothing personal. They can like you, they can love you. It's not about hate. It's about controlling privileges, opportunities, and resources. When you control privileges, opportunities, and resources, they don't have to hate you. They just got to maintain that. And what they talking about, black people is racist. No, we cannot be racist. What systems and institutions that we can control to affect people's day-to-day lives? That's why I want to ask a question to them. We could be prejudiced, we could be bigots, and we're not even that. It's a difference between racism, prejudice, and bigotry. Prejudice is like when you don't like nobody. Bigotry is when you hate somebody. We're not even none of that. So a lot of these people, they need to get politically educated before they speak on these type of topics. But I guess they don't want to speak on these type of topics because they don't want to offend nobody. Everything is about race. From this trial right now, we just had the trial of the man, Mr. Chow, and the jury sent a message. They sent a clearly message that you can do this, and then we're gonna protect you. That's the clear message that they sent. And you clearly can see he chased this man down. You cannot pursue a fleeing suspect. If the man is running away, he's no longer a threat. And they sit up there saying he steals something, he got a gun. Everybody steals something, everybody got a gun. But once you leave, he's fleeing from the scene. He's no longer a threat. He's no longer a danger. If he was coming towards you or something with a weapon, then that might could have been justified. So I don't know, man, what these people was thinking, bro. Something is wrong. Like, it's wrong. That was dead wrong. Like, you chased this man, what, 130 yards? That's almost the length of a football field. Y'all couldn't see that through y'all head, so I don't know.
Well, that's longer than a football field because a football field is only 100 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, 130 yards. That's with the goal posts and all that, with the touchdowns and all that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, y'all didn't see that?
You can't. How you claim self-defense when you're chasing somebody?
Exactly. And then he had a history of doing that. But like I said before yesterday, ain't no boycotting, divest into it. Stop going into these businesses and stuff where you're not welcome at. You know, we talked about this yesterday, Red, how they harass us and stuff. The menace to society, how, like, remember, he was saying, I don't know why you creeping. Always think somebody gonna steal something.
Yeah.
She was acting like she was cleaning up. We said like this yesterday. Y'all know what to be going on in these businesses. Stop going in there, spending your money where you're not welcome at. See, a lot of us hard-headed and don't get the picture. If you go in there, this what type of stigma. They already got this perceived notion about us anyway. It don't matter whether you got 6 degrees or you from the hood or not. They automatically got this propaganda on us because they've been told by them folks. Them folks told them about us. So they already got their mindset. It doesn't matter. Just with the same way Carmelo Anthony. He's supposed to be innocent to proven guilty, but with us, you innocent to proven guilty. They already like the brother is in he's in a jail of public opinion. He hasn't
Yeah.
been convicted yet. And it doesn't matter. He's no thug. They trying to, oh, he's a thug, he's a gangster. That brother ain't no thug and no gangster. None of us ain't no thugs and no gangsters. We pay taxes just like y'all do. We work just like y'all do. Don't we served and fought and bled and died in this country just like y'all did. So go on with all that, man. You know, y'all getting above yourself. Do we have some bad people? Yes, we do. Everybody got some bad people. Every race, every community has some degenerates. But y'all try to highlight us. We always call out our degenerates and hold them accountable. Y'all don't. When they do things, y'all sit up there and give them a pass. You know, he's innocent to proven guilty. He had to do what he had to do to defend himself. If 4 of them coming at you, you're not gonna get straight up, you ain't gonna fight them straight up. You're trying to get up out of there, or you might not live to see it happen again. If it wasn't around, if he was on them back streets or something, they could have unalived him. Just like the day is June 7th. Hey Ray, you remember that incident in Jasper, Texas? When them 3 guys dragged James Byrd? This was in June 7, 1998. The 28th anniversary of that is today. Remember that incident?
Yeah, where they dragged him from with the was it a truck? Yeah,
They chained him to the back of the truck.
Yeah,
and they dragged him for like 3 miles and severed his body all over.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They got a history. They got a history of doing this.
I think 2 of them got executed and 1 of them got life. And it was all this racial tension in Jasper and all that at that time. And
yeah, man, that's crazy. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring you guys back up. I'm gonna bring you guys. Yeah. This whole time, you guys. I'm gonna bring both of you guys back up. Let's go to Jason Whitlock real quick. This is another black conservative Sambo, and I want y'all to hear what he had to say about brother Karmelo. Oh, wow, I don't be. Here you go, right here.
But you're gonna get a pass.
I struggle with. I'm more of a writer than a talker, and I struggle pronouncing.
Still loved sports. I still love the culture, and I realized the only way for me to.
Now he said, "Will Karmelo Anthony trial lead to riots?" Let's go. Make sure that you bless the like button.
To get a foot of a career path there was to go into media. So really dove into it hardcore in high school. Actually, the morning news that runs every day at CBC High School in St. Louis, you probably have heard of it. We used to play some fun games against Blue Springs. I actually started the morning news program that still runs to this day. So, I mean, I went all in high school, committed to it. I knew that was my only way to be in stuff there.
So let's give the audience a little taste of what you're talking about. I think we got a clip of the guy screaming and yelling. Let's play that.
Good cracker is a dead cracker. Only good cracker is a dead cracker. Only good cracker is a dead cracker.
The difference is, as it relates to Michael Brown and Ferguson, it's like compared to the Carmelo Anthony story, Michael Brown and that group had a somewhat believable story at the outset that, hey, Darren Wilson did something inappropriate. He had his hands up. He was surrendering. It was because you know why I call it somewhat believable at the outset is because I fell for it. I've been a cynical person, and I've certainly taken a more logical approach to race than the stereotypical black leftist. But even I initially fell for the Michael Brown hoax. I'm not sure if anybody's ever bought this self-defense, high school track meet, knife. I just don't know if anybody's ever really bought the story. And so it's like why they're bringing Jacob Blake's father has no connection. And I know there was a lot of outside agitators in Ferguson as well, but I just don't think people on the ground, and I know a few people in Frisco, Texas, I spent some.
See, when you become a black conservative, you can't criticize white people, because if you do, they're not going to support you. So you got to throw black people under the bus to appease your white audience. That's what black conservatives do.
Logical conclusions that you can, they do, maybe they don't. I can't get inside. Even when the Obama administration came out and said, yeah, hands up, don't shoot, never happened. And it was even his black DOJ, that the head of the DOJ, that came out and said that. That didn't change their hearts. That didn't change their minds. In fact, there were still protests after that at the courtroom. So these people, unfortunately, they're very emotional based. I don't know, Jason, maybe they really do believe they're victims of racism. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I can't get inside their head. They at least pretend that they do. And this is a cause that, I think some of them look at it as their leverage. They look at this as their leverage in society of, hey, I'm the bigger victim. I need, we want to put it into plain words, I need free stuff. Give me free stuff. And so anytime there's an event like this, it kind of gives them that ammunition to stay in that mindset. So, here, I think that what's going to be interesting is, obviously we don't have the verdict yet. So I don't know if we can really measure what's going on in the streets right now based off of the action in the courtroom. I think when the verdict comes out, that first initial response, that might give us a better idea if the local community is going to have some strife and stress, or if they're just going to accept the verdict and move on. But, Jason, isn't it crazy as you lay this out? It's how many times we have to deal with this a day where it's like, okay, this is clearly the facts of the case. These are maybe some different potential logical conclusions that you can reach, but you just have to take into the fact that people, they don't care. They really don't care about facts. They don't care about logic. Unfortunately, this is what I deal with all the time in politics. And I try to explain this to my audience, especially when we do like left-right paradigm stuff. And you'll have people on the right and they'll say this about the left and this about liberals and this about progressives. And I'm saying, okay, that's fine. They don't care. Like, you're not going to win them over. Haven't you figured this out? The facts don't affect them. Their emotions are dominating their decisions.
Emotions has nothing to do with it. White people will convict you just because they're white and they say so. They're not dealing with logic. None of those white men that unalived Emmett Till were brought to justice. None of them were held accountable. None of those white supremacists who bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma were held accountable. So if you talk about escaping accountability, the white man tops the list. Who tops the list when it comes to escaping accountability? White people, because the laws have always worked in their favor. They can unalive you and get away with it, and the law will protect them. Who's gotten away with unaliving more people than a white man in America? Nobody, baby, like Keith Sweat said. Nobody.
This is why it's so frustrating sometimes being on the right wing politically. And right now the whole thing is, blurry. But it's just, I think the same thing happens in this world where it's like, okay, we're looking at the justice system. We got race-based issues involved. Now we got young kids involved. People get too emotional, and the facts and logic, they just can't, it doesn't get through. And so, look at George Floyd. Here's a guy, the facts of the case, died from a fentanyl overdose. Any other case, that would be a fentanyl overdose death. But with this case, it's the police officer. And then we saw what happened, obviously, in the aftermath of that. So I wish, Jason, people were logical like you. I wish people actually analyzed and measured the facts like you. Unfortunately, this isn't the world we live in. Not even in the media, Jason. Not even in the media.
Well, and the media is kind of the driving force behind the illogic that you're talking about. It's because what you're really talking about is there's no reverence for truth. And, as you become a more secular society, because in my view, the foundation of truth is the word of God and the Bible. And so when there's no reverence for the word of God and the Bible, there's no reverence for truth. And so what you're really arguing, which has merit, is like there's two things going on. The ends justify the means in these people's minds. And so it doesn't matter. As long as we're on the right cause, as long as we're in our mind pushing against racism. The facts don't have to be true. And, you know, you don't have to be standing on any sort of truth.
This country was built on a lie. When America talks about equality and justice, that is a lie. This country was not built on equality and justice. So the United States of America, the whole national anthem is a lie. It's an illusion. It's a lie. This country was not built on giving people equality and real justice. This country was not built on that. So why don't you talk about the foundation of this country if you want to talk about a lie and who's known to practice racism in this country? I think we all know.
If you're fighting racism, and so who cares how you do it as long as you're fighting?
I'm gonna drop the link for my man Street Media, man. I'm sick of these black Sam. I am sick of these black Sambos. I am sick of them. My God, I'm sick of them. And the crazy part is they still got black people who support them. Anton Daniels, Jason Whitlock, and Officer Tatum would defend a white supremacist if a white supremacist harmed your child. They would make excuses for the white supremacists if they harmed your child. It's crazy that black people still go to their panels. Anton would justify the fact that a white supremacist harmed your child. He would question your parenting. He would say that your parenting skills suck, and that's the only reason that the white supremacists had to harm your child in the first place. That's the excuses that people like Anton make. George, what's good, brother?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, bro.
Yeah, I just want to say, just for our people to understand something, that when stuff like this happens, it's beyond just media coverage and racism. It's race. Well, it's institutional racism through politics. Remember, somebody got an echo.
Yeah, I got rid of. Go ahead.
Yeah, remember, Dr. Nellie Fuller told us that they control all 9 areas of activity. So we got to understand something. When you see the Rick Chow situation, they get off and we get upset. This thing is political. You understand? Judges got to run for office. They got to get voted in. You got congressmen and politicians. The majority white folks tell them, yo, if you don't get a verdict, if you don't get the verdict in our favor, we're going to get rid of you. So when you see media coverage, the way media coverage is being presented, that thing goes, this is politics. It goes all the way through politics and the money flow. So it's beyond us outside protesting. So when you got like a Karmelo Anthony case in a place like Frisco, what do you think the people are saying to their local politicians? See, we got to think beyond the emotion. This thing is, and it's always been like this. This is why they try to keep us off the voting polls. This is why redistricting is happening. Now, the thing is this, right? Those redistricting hurt us, but I blame the Democrats for that. But that's an old tactic of white supremacy to keep us from having a voice or representation in office when stuff like this happens. This gives them justification for doing what they do. The judges and these DAs and stuff be already brought off. They don't listen. A judge can't just get in. So, like a judge, your senator, your congressman, what do you think? What do you think them white folks in them towns are doing when something like this happens? Why do you think Rick Chow get off? How much money do you think that these Asians give? Because remember, you don't see Asians on voting blocks voting like that. They have commerce behind the scenes. They fund congressmen and politicians in order to fill their needs. That's why they got their Asian bill passed so much, because they got money based off the black community. They can move shit around and get shit done. We don't have political power like that. If we did, we would. If we had political power like that, right, that video would have been shown already. The video ain't shown because black leadership ain't shit. And this is the problem. And they don't have to, because we're not in positions of power to force that arm. Because black people, see, remember, our black leadership went for the protection of immigrants. So why would they find Chow guilty when the black power structure been going to protect them? Now, when something you're gonna go against it? No. See, we got to pay attention to how this thing really operates, man. This thing is beyond just what you see on a surface level. Dr. Phil Valentine told us we got to search beyond the curtain, man. and see how this thing really operates. So people like this fat piece of crap, man. Listen, they're funded and paid by the dominant society to push this rhetoric so he can be that black buffer. So he's saying what they want to say, but they're using his black ass to say it. That's why he's worse than the white man. But all this stuff is controlled, man, through media and politics, political structure, man. So this whole Karmelo Anthony situation is political, man. Because what happens is we get to harm you, but you don't get to kill us. You don't get to kill us. This is America. You're black. And this is why they charge him with first-degree murder. And when you look at the news, he's supposed to be innocent to proven guilty. Look at all the news coverage. They got him guilty because the way the political structure is. White America is the majority, and they want justice. So your senators and your congressmen saying, man, listen, man, we got to get reelected. We can't go against this. Why do you think white liberals have never passed the anti-lynching bill? And even when they passed the John Byrd bill, it took forever. They didn't even want to let Dr. King have his own holiday because they didn't want to go against their white voting bloc. So we got to pay attention, man. This thing ain't just overt racism. It's political, it's institutional, it's all the way around the board until we get our head out our asses and understand how this shit work. Right, man? Listen, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. And lastly, Chud the Builder. Listen, the state of Tennessee failed that black man that got shot because Chud was breaking the law. He was going around harassing black people, breaking the law, and antagonizing them with a firearm, calling them a racial slur. He was impeding on their autonomy in America. The whole country and the state of Tennessee watched it and said he had a right to free speech, knowing he was breaking the law, knowing he was. They did nothing about it. And then the black man got shot. Now they're trying to step up and act like they want to keep him in jail. But they could have prevented this had they stepped in and got him out the way. So what I'm saying is it's political. It's political. And those judges, the DAs, the sheriff's department, when they all running to get elected, to get put back in, man, they got to do what they told, bro. That's why we're guilty to innocent. So we got to get our people in positions of power in those seats. It's unfortunate that a lot of those black people in the Democrats are being redistricted. But I'm gonna tell you something, my foundational Black American family. Just because they been took out, we got to go get those seats. You can't let them redistrict and put their own people there because it's gonna keep happening. We gotta get a new voice in those seats that they occupied and did nothing with. We gotta have those seats. Because if not, when this stuff happened, the majority group are going to go to their people and say, hey, we need you to get this done. They're going to turn right around and make the media the way that they want to perceive you as violent. And then next thing you know, you'll be upset when verdicts are not going in our way. So don't be too happy that they're being redistricted if we're not getting our representation there. Don't let them get redistricted and put their people there because it's going to get worse. I land there.
Man, shout out to the street media, man. Hey, man, that's a fact, man. You know, these people are paid off, man. So they're gonna do whatever they got to do to get on office. People like Tampon gonna say whatever he got to say so that he can continue to get support from white conservatives, right? So they're gonna say whatever they got to say. They're gonna do whatever they got to do to keep their positions. That's the unfortunate reality, but that's what they do. Herc, you got the flow, my brother.
Hey, bro, how's it going, man?
Chilling, my brother.
All right. Hey, look, I just want to focus on, say, some proactive measures to pursue for the FBA community to pursue in the Texas court in Colon County. Okay, the Judge R. Roach, right? He's actually been reprimanded by the Texas Judicial Board for impropriety, okay? And him and his wife was basically publishing a book. He used his influence, his prestige to basically promote his wife's book. And also their side hustle law firm, they have a law firm where they basically say, they solicit attorneys that have engaged in divorce, that have basically been involved in divorce. So they direct all of their attorneys that go through divorce through their law clerk, their law clinic, or their law firm. So that's impropriety on Judge. That's the background impropriety on Judge R. Roach. So my point is that he's known to use his influence, to benefit himself and his family, and he may try something, some basically some impropriety with this ruling or this decision with this young man's life, this case. In addition to that, we have what is called 39. It's the what they call the Michael Morton Act, 3914. Okay, Michael Morton was a criminal defendant that basically was convicted in a court of law in Texas, and the prosecution withheld evidence. They withheld Brady, basically Brady evidence, Brady rule evidence, and they withheld evidence, exculpatory evidence to defend based on the defense for the defendant. So they withheld, say, crucial testimony and crucial evidence that could have helped a better outcome of the case. So in this particular situation, they have, say, 12 white jurors that they already have the fix in. The judge is already, gagged the courts. He's basically put security elements in place. So they're getting ready to try to, say, crucify this young man. Worst case scenario, he gets life. I didn't see any issues as far as them asking for the death penalty. I don't see the death penalty. At least I haven't seen any information on that. Seems like they're asking for a life sentence, or they're shooting for a life sentence. So we need a 2-point plan. We need to attack the judge, but we need to attack the prosecutor. As I said, the judge has been reprimanded for impropriety, and the prosecutor may be withholding evidence that could exonerate this young man. So we need to go after the prosecutor's law license, and we need to go after the judge, and basically pursue him for as far as watch him. We need to watch him extremely. We need to do an extreme watch on him, and look at the case. Basically, look at the technical issues of the case, break it down. We need paralegals. We need attorneys. We need everybody, in order to say converge on this particular situation and support this young man, and obtain any kind of evidence or that would have, say, been biased against him. So if he does get convicted, hopefully he's convicted of a lesser charge or not convicted at all. I hope he walks. I want the young man to walk. But worst case scenario, we have this information that we can submit to the Texas State Supreme Court on his behalf to reopen new evidence and get it reduced to a lesser charge or exonerated. So that's basically what I wanted to say.
Well, shout out to you, my brother. I appreciate you for pulling up. Let me see who else we got in the background. Do business, man. What's going on, do business?
What's good with y'all, man? Good Sunday to you.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be quick, Red. That's why I rock with you, man, because you solid, real, recognize real. But honestly, I mean, I don't really see what the big deal is. I mean, that's what happens, when you attack someone, you get stabbed or shot. I mean, sound like a normal day in America to me. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100. I mean, we've all been teenagers before, so if you got to get busy, you got to get busy. Somebody gonna try you eventually. So the white dude, whoever the dude was, tried Karmelo Anthony, and you got murdered. I mean, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. The fuck you think somebody gonna sit down and have dinner with you and you pushing them around? Nah, you got to go. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, and I heard white people try to make the false equivalence by saying, Well, if Karmelo has a right to stab someone for putting their hands on him, surely Chud the Builder has a right to shoot someone for putting their hands on him.
Oh
I said, well,
no.
Karmelo was minding his business sitting down. Chud was walking around antagonizing and harassing people. There's a big difference.
You know, dudes like him, I just hope, well, I just wish that we can do like an experiment, like especially out on the West Coast, like Chud the Builder. Yeah, just take him to like Capanella Park, you know, Inglewood somewhere. Just let him run up on some Bloods or some Crips talking that crazy. Oh man, I could just sit there and watch it like I'm eating popcorn, like a movie. They're gonna beat the. Oh my God, I don't even know what they're gonna do to him. I like to see stuff like that. Honestly, if you think that you can just push people around, treat people any kind of way, talk to people anyway, and you expect to go back home and eat dinner at night, nah. I wish death on you, straight up. Nobody
Yeah,
caring about no Chud the Builder. I mean, you walking up on people, disrespecting people like that. I saw what he did on the internet. Yeah, you can do that in Clarksville, Tennessee. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, and the thing is that, well, Chud shot somebody for putting their hands on him. You're justifying Karmelo for stabbing somebody for putting their hands on him. I said Chud was disrespecting people, harassing individuals, antagonizing people. There's a big difference. Karmelo was just sitting down minding his business. He wasn't bothering anybody. He wasn't in anybody's face, calling them racial slurs, harassing them. Chud the Builder did that. That is a false equivalence. But you know that's all. That's what they like to do. Well, Chud should have the right to shoot someone for touching him if Karmelo can stab somebody for touching him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's
They
crazy.
retarded, bro. It's good for us to see it because you know people have been out of their mind for many years in this country. It's just good to continue to see it because it's going to keep happening until the United States government put a stop to it. So obviously they're making money some kind of way off dysfunction in this country. They ain't gonna put a stop to it. What you think is gonna happen if you're giving people all these rights to destroy each other? They're gonna give you all the tools that you need to destroy yourself. So obviously they don't care about human life because if you did, none of this stuff would be happening. We have a totally different society. But if you're gonna keep, you know, if you're gonna keep doing stupid stuff, then you motherfucker dumb, bro. Like, I'm sorry, man. What else can I say? I don't see no intelligence from a lot of people that have certain positions in certain, you know, platforms and stuff. You one of the only people that makes sense. It's sad, man. It really is. But you know,
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy, man. Listen, let me go back to this clip right here.
Fighting racism. And then I think the other factor, Owen, that you're making me just kind of come to grips with, because it's been a pervasive thought in my mind, is like, hey, we've been so dumbed down that people can't understand truth. They can't grasp it, that they can't read. When you graduate high school reading at a third or fourth grade level, that speaks to your level of comprehension. If you can't read, you can't comprehend. And so what we've done to the school systems and the educational process, the constant lowering and lowering and lowering of standards to fight racism, it eventually creates a society of people that can't read, can't comprehend. And, it's like I've been trying to come to grips like how often I'm misunderstood over Twitter. And I have to remind myself like, hey, man, people can't read. And so, don't be surprised that people don't get it. And so, people are living in their own little fantasy worlds. They're their own little gods, and they get to create their own little facts. And yeah, that we got a mass psychosis of stupidity going on that, no different than COVID.
Well, there's no doubt that that is happening. And to go back to kind of the original question here, I do think one thing is inevitably going to happen, whether this puts people in the streets after the verdict or not. I'd say probably not. But I do believe that what I was saying is that no matter what the verdict in this case is, people are going to get radicalized. And if Karmelo Anthony walks, let's say he doesn't go to jail, let's maybe put it more general. If Karmelo Anthony doesn't go to jail, white people and the right wing will become radicalized. And I know the right wing doesn't really protest per se. I guess we have the one enigma of January 6th, but we won't go into the questions about that. The right wing really doesn't protest, so I don't think it puts people in the streets of the right wing. But the right wing can be radicalized. We have seen that. The right wing can be radicalized. And I think that if Karmelo Anthony doesn't go to jail for killing a kid, I do think the right wing, and I do see kind of some white radicalization happening for this. If that happens. Now, if that doesn't happen and Karmelo Anthony gets a life sentence, let's say, well, then now we already have a radicalized black community. I don't know if this puts them in the streets, but this will radicalize them further. And it's just like you said, I don't like to get into too much of the case until it's over or until we can actually get all the evidence that's happening in the courtroom, which it's limited availability right now. It seems open shut to me. Karmelo Anthony killed a kid. Whatever happened leading up to that, may determine his sentence, but he killed somebody. I mean, the guy has to go to jail. Let's be honest about it. But if he does, that's going to radicalize another side of the community. So my big fear is it continues this divide, Jason. It continues this divide, the race divide, the political divide. And as we discussed, it's like the facts don't even matter. They've already made up their mind that if Karmelo Anthony goes to jail, it's racist. And this is another example of racism institutionally against black people in America. And if Karmelo Anthony doesn't go to jail, then white people are going to reach really the same conclusion, that this is racism against white people. This is double standards against white people. And so justice, let's say the judge does the best possible job he can getting justice, and I guess everybody assumes that's going to be the case. It won't even matter. That's the unfortunate case. It won't even matter. People are going to reach their conclusions based off the results. And this is just how it's always been. This is how it's been in the last 10 years. This is how it's been since I started covering politics and cases like this with the Mike Brown case. And that's besides a fear, it's a shame. I think, Jason, it's a shame that this is what happens. And I don't know when it went so bad. I think we all kind of ask ourselves that, don't we? When did it get so bad?
Yeah, well, it's been a long time coming. And it's like, I'll go back to my original statements. When you use dishonest tactics to achieve your goals, and again, it's like we're coming to grips with that Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement used dishonest tactics to achieve their goals. And that taught a lesson to people. It's like, oh, okay. And he's celebrated and he's seen as basically one of the founding fathers of America. And his tactics were dishonest, and they were Marxist, communist, that they were rebellious or disruptive to American culture and American tradition, and in my view, Christian culture. We shouldn't be surprised that 60 years of celebrating this guy as the greatest thing in the world has led people to adopt his dishonest tactics. The other thing that you said that I'm going to say something really transparent that will probably not put me in a good light. But if they come back not guilty, I'm going to be radicalized as a black man. I'm going to be radicalized. And it scares me how radicalized I've become, because I sit there and I go, hey, man, I don't want to be around these people. The Karmelo Anthony supporters and the people with this black racial idolatry. I don't want to be around them. And I'm like, maybe, I'm trying to do research on segregation, and because I think I'm pro segregation, but I'm saying things but it's like, I want to be segregated with the people that still believe in the Bible and still want to have a colorblind society. And I want to be away from those people. And I literally do think hey, what happens to me and what happens to the black people that want to be away from this insanity as well? And I don't have a good answer for it. I don't know what happens to us.
Well, let me kind of reiterate or rephrase what it is you're trying to express here, because so much of this conversation has become race-based that we kind of just fall into that trap, and it's almost necessary to use the lexicon, to use the language, so that people can understand what you're saying. What I interpret from what you just said, it's really not even a race thing. I mean, you can obviously look at the color of somebody's skin, but it's not even a race thing. You don't want to be around people that want killers walking around on the streets.
Yes.
That's what I'm interpreting. It doesn't matter if it's a white person, a black person, a Mexican. You don't want killers on the streets. You don't want killers in the community with your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, your friends, your family. You don't want killers walking around free. That's totally rational. I don't know anyone else, if you asked them in that frame, do you want a killer walking around in the streets? I don't know any rational person that would say, yes, I think that's a good idea. But that's why they make it all about race. And that's why they make it all about tugging on your emotional heartstrings and thinking, oh, I could be Karmelo Anthony. I could be Michael Brown. I could be George Floyd, because they want you to get rid of the logic. They want you to just look at skin color, something you can't control. And then it becomes impossible to the point where you're sitting here thinking, how do I express myself without being misinterpreted as racist or misinterpreted as, I don't like some people, whatever, discriminatory. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Segregation is part of our society. Why do I go into a class with people my age and not people older than me? I mean, this is normal. Discrimination, it's a part of every society. You have criminals, you don't want them on the streets. We discriminate against criminals. Go to jail. So it's like they've bastardized these words. They've demonized these words. They've reframed these issues into race issues. And that's the only reason why we have to have this conversation. I don't hear you saying that. That's not how I interpret what you said. But that's the problem, is that is how people are going to interpret what you said. And it's like, well, what can I do? What can I do when all you're able to do is look at this through a lens of race? It makes it impossible, I think. It makes it impossible for us to finally come together and beat this stuff. And that's what's so unfortunate. To me, it's mind-blowing. I mean, I'm kind of hesitant on putting my opinion out there for obvious reasons. But to me, based off of what I've seen, and if I see something differently, I'll change my mind, Karmelo Anthony should probably get life in jail. Maybe an opportunity for parole after like 50 years or something. He killed somebody. He killed a kid.
Chow.
And you know what? If you want to make excuses for it, and if you want to talk about the different circumstances, okay, fine. He still killed him. Like, let's just say what it is. I can make 1,000 different excuses to the police officer while I was going 100 miles per hour or have a bottle of Jack Daniel in my hand. It doesn't matter. I'm still going 100 miles per hour with a bottle of Jack Daniels in my hand. Whatever excuse I have is not going to change that fact, and that I'm going to be punished for that. So I don't know. It's like, it's weird when we get into all of these race-based issues and we tend to forget about what actually happened, the actual event that happened.
Yeah, if white people were being honest, they would have showed the video. Okay, this is why Karmelo was guilty. They would have released the video to convict him in the court of popular opinion. They would have released the video. So think about that. White people want to tell you facts. Basically, they're saying I'm white and I say so. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed for coining that. I'm white and I say so. Rick Chow shot a kid and said, well, he pointed a gun at me. Where's the proof? Where's the eyewitness? Well, I say so. I'm an honorary white supremacist. I say so. Even though there's no proof or no eyewitnesses that said that Cyrus pulled a gun on Chow and his son. They have no proof. You're just taking their word. Same thing this white man is saying. We have the proof. Who says we have the proof? Where's the video? How come you didn't post the video to show everybody what happened?
But this is where the media comes into play. This is where the left-wing media has always done their best to try to make these events more radicalizing and turn them into riots if they possibly can. And then they go out on the streets and they tell you it's peaceful while they're, buildings burning in the background. So it's really wild that we've witnessed this. And to get back to the beginning, I don't think we see this. I hope we don't see this with this case, but it's always a potential now. And it certainly is not going to help anything.
Oh, and I'll land the plane on this note.
All right, I'll be right down. 1 minute, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you downstairs, okay? Okay.
I'll ask this real quick. You can give a quick response. People are making the point like, hey, Chud the Builder here in Tennessee can't get bond for using the N-word. And this kid murdered somebody and has been out on bond, has been using Gibson Go or GoFundMe funds to finance his defense in life. Chud the Builder can't use the money for that hypocrisy. It's not like I'm not a fan of Chud the Builder, but damn it, right is right and wrong is wrong, and we need one standard. And so this is I'll land the plane here. It's like if I were white and being black, if they come back not guilty, it's almost like I'm not trying to be in front, but it's like I'm pro riots. I want another January 6th, and I need to be there. If they don't put this kid away, if there's some sort of January 6th type event in protest of that, I need to be there.
Well, that's interesting you say that. And that's why, I kind of got the feeling that that would be the case for many people. Again, whether that actually manifests into bodies on the streets, only time will tell. But anytime there's a case like this and some of the radical elements get involved, it radicalizes people. It's inevitable. That's why I said, no matter the outcome of the case, that's what's going to happen. Now, I do think you bring up really the most important juxtaposition here, which is the Chud the Builder case versus the Karmelo Anthony case. So as you accurately pointed out, Karmelo Anthony, he was able to get bailed out of jail. They were able to do that fundraising, which there might need to be some investigations into that. But putting that aside, Chud had to sit in jail. I guess he's been in jail for almost 2 or 3 weeks now. He didn't kill anybody. Straight up, he did not kill anybody. And I was kind of put on.
Here you go. He's defending Chud. Of course, they're going to defend old Chuddy boy.
Why I said, no matter the outcome of the case, that's what's going to happen. Now, I do think you bring up really the most important juxtaposition here, which is the Chud the Builder case versus the Karmelo Anthony case. So as you accurately pointed out, Karmelo Anthony, he was able to get bailed out of jail. They were able to do that fundraising, which there might need to be some investigations into that. But putting that aside, Chud had to sit in jail. I guess he's been in jail for almost 2 or 3 weeks now. He didn't kill anybody. Straight up.
But Chud was going around antagonizing people, harassing people. Shut your white ass up. Chud was going around antagonizing people, harassing people, and filming them at the same time. Shut your dumb ass up. Chud didn't kill anybody. Chud didn't kill anybody. Shut up.
He did not kill anybody. And, as you accurately pointed out, Karmelo Anthony, he was able to get bailed out of jail. They were able to do that fundraising, which there might need to be some investigations into that. But putting that aside, Chud had to sit in jail. I guess he's been in jail for almost 2 or 3 weeks now. He didn't kill anybody. Straight up, he did not kill anybody. And I was kind of put under some pressure to help his fundraising campaign and to really kind of get on his side with my show. There was a lot of political pressure on me to do that for obvious reasons. And my response was, look, I am a free speech, I don't know if it's fair to say absolutist, but I'm about as close to a free speech absolutist as it gets. And so if Chud the Builder wants to go out and do that type of content, I'm not going to get in his way. I'm not going to tell him he can't do it. If I want to have an opinion on it, everybody can have their opinion on it. To me, it was more like, if you're going to go out and do that type of content, you know what you're trying to do. It's like, you're trying to initiate that response, and inevitably.
Look at this, right? So what about Chud? What was Chud trying to initiate? Calling people names, harassing, antagonizing with a gun while filming them at the same time. These white people are full of shit. This is why I don't listen to them. They claim to be intelligent, and they're not. They go around telling bold-faced lies. Chud went around antagonizing people on purpose, using racial slurs, harassing them, stalking them, filming them. But you have nothing to say about that. But then you want to prove that Karmelo had the intent, like he planned on doing this. Like he went up there, like, you know what? I'm gonna go over there, sit under a tent, and I'm gonna stab somebody when they approach me. That's the picture that white people are trying to paint. Carmelo Anthony woke up and said, you know what? I'm gonna go to the opposite side of the track field, sit under the tent, and if anybody approaches me, they're gonna get this work. That's what they're saying about Carmelo, like he did this on purpose, like it was premeditated. I'm sick of these damn white supremacists. I'm sick of these damn Sambos.
Speech absolutist as it gets. And so if Chud the Builder wants to go out and do that type of content, I'm not going to get in his way. I'm not going to tell him he can't do it. If I want to have an opinion on it, everybody can have their opinion on it. To me, it was more like, if you're going to go out and do that type of content, you know what you're trying to do. It's like, you know, you're trying to initiate that response, and you know inevitably you're going to get that response.
Okay, now, okay, cool. I wanted to hear what he said again. Okay, hold Chud the Builder accountable. If you're going around doing that content, you're trying to get a response out of people. You're harassing them. You're antagonizing them. You're filming them at the same time. So of course you're trying to get a response.
And if you're not legally prepared, or you're not psychologically prepared, physically prepared, whatever it is in that situation, to avoid going to jail, to me, that's kind of on you. And it's like, I don't really feel the need to leap into the fray for you when that's the type of content you engage in, and then you're not even prepared to have a good legal case when the inevitable happens. So that was more my issue, was like, I'm not going to do something because somebody else did a stupid decision that he was fully in control of. Having said that, I can also recognize the double standard that you put out, that Carmelo Anthony, who kills a person, is allowed to fundraise and get out of jail, and Chud the Builder is not. That's a juxtaposition that everybody can see, and the obvious...
Two different situations. Carmelo Anthony was minding his business. Somebody confronted him. Chud the Builder was going around filming people, confronting them, harassing them. Big difference. You can't even compare the two. False equivalence. Well, Chud the Builder, man, shut up. Carmelo was minding his business. He wasn't harassing anybody. He wasn't antagonizing anyone. Chud the Builder, on the other hand, was antagonizing people, was harassing people, was stalking people, was filming people without their consent. False equivalence. It's not the same situation, not even close.
Thing is the skin color.
Owen, thank you so much. Go take care of your daughter.
All right, man. Listen, man, this is what we're going to do, man. I'm going to let you guys give your closing thoughts, and I'm going to wrap this up, man. We need more people to bless that damn like button, man. If you're watching the show and you're really rocking, and you're truly rocking with the content, I'm going to let you guys give your closing thoughts, man. Go. I'm going to let Hurt go, then I'm going to let Dre close. Go ahead, Hurt.
Yeah, Red. As you the points you made, yeah. Chud the Builder was looking for it. You know, here's a loser that lost everything. Piss poor father, piss poor husband. Questionable, you know, about his gender, and you know, just not sure of himself as a man. He was out there looking for it. He was blaming black people for his misery and what he basically experienced. You know, he lost his job or something like that. And he blamed black people for something that, you know, he did on his own. So he basically got angry and took a camera, went to the streets, you know, to antagonize black people, to set black people up to ambush. Carmelo, innocent young man, just got up one morning, was going to a track meet. Long story short, you know, basically participated in the track meet, and you know, just mind his own business. And he was confronted by 4 goons, you know, 4 bullies, and the young man defended himself. That's it, man. Simple as that. That young man did not get up that morning, you know, with the intent to harm anybody. See, intent, you know, criminal intent is formed in the mind first. Okay. Criminal intent has to be formed in the mind, you know, and then it's basically carried out through deeds and actions. So we don't know, we never know what another person is thinking. Okay, so you can't convict, what a person is thinking in their mind. It has to play out in its actions, and the actions are basically determined as to what criminal activity is. So this young man did not, wake up with the intent to harm anyone. And that's it. I'm gonna land my plane.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Herc, man. I appreciate you, Herc. Dre, man, go ahead and give your closing thoughts, my brother.
All right, and they sitting up here trying to compare this Carmelo Anthony case to Chud DeBoulder. In my opinion, it's no comparison. That young brother was defending himself. This man is going around instigating, calling people racial slurs, and recording it, antagonizing people. And the first thing, when I looked at this panel you just played, they said, "Oh well, no, ain't nothing. Nothing. He was dead wrong. He didn't even kill nobody. So what? He broke the law. Yeah, he might got free speech, but he's not free from consequences. So he got to deal what he had to do. These people got no brains, man. They still up there trying to defend his actions. He was dead wrong, and then he was sitting around recording himself. What type of person would sit around recording themselves committing crime? That's a bozo. That's a dummy right there. If he had any kind of brains, he wouldn't have been filming himself. So guess what, bro? You incriminated yourself. You going around antagonizing people, calling people racial slurs, N-words, and all that. And now he want to play the victim. No, be a man and stand your charge. That brother Carmelo Anthony had no intent of harming nobody, doing none of that. He was just defending himself. And see what they try to do, try to make Carmelo, the brother, look like the aggressor. When he was the victim, he was minding his own business. He had no intent of doing that. They came over there, try to harm him. If somebody try to come and harm you, what you gonna do? So you meant to tell us that we have no right to defend ourselves. Y'all can just do what y'all want to. Y'all can just do what they want to do, y'all. That's exactly what it is. Y'all have a history of that. You remember? I think you remember. It was in 1959. It was in Mississippi. It was a 23-year-old black man named Matt Parker. He was falsely accusing of arming a white woman. And what they did was they took him to jail. Before the so-called trial happened, a white mob dragged him out in jail. And actually, it was the state trooper that gave the woman's husband a pistol to shoot Matt Parker. And I think it was like a couple days later, he was found like lynched or something, and nobody wasn't indicted. It was like in 1959. I was hearing Minister Farrakhan speak about this. I mean, you can look this up. Y'all have the history. We got the receipts to prove your behavior. So don't come acting like you're holy and like all y'all innocent. No, y'all not. Didn't the lady just help unalive Emmett Till get away? You didn't even hold her accountable. Y'all have a history now holding y'all own people accountable. Then when we speak up about this, y'all want to, oh, it was racism. No, it's not. Y'all blaming them. No, we're not blaming nobody. We're holding them accountable. It's a difference. Don't confuse the two.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
and let me say this real quick. Ashley, why don't you come up? You got a whole lot to say in the comment section. Why don't you hit this link and come up? Because I know you're not going to pull up. You're just going to troll in the comment section. It's okay. Stay in the comment section if that's where you want to stay. But if you really got something to say, pull up. Pull up and speak your piece. You know what I mean? White people ain't had no business doing a lot of stuff that they do. But do they get convicted? Most of the times, no, they don't. None of those white men who unalived Emmett Till were held accountable. None of those white supremacists who bombed Black Wall Street were held accountable. None of those white supremacists who burned down Ocoee, Florida, outside of Orlando, Florida in the early 1900s. That was a thriving Black community. Those white supremacists burned down Ocoee, Florida, just because Black people organized and went out to vote on that particular day. They feared the unity. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
And then the Birmingham, the 1963 incident where they bombed a church.
Yeah.
They bombed they bombed the church. Come on now. They were talking about so I don't care how long ago it was. 1963 wasn't that long ago. That was right around the corner. They did look what the type of things they did. And I think they waited till they got old or something. I don't know the situation, but I think they waited till they got old or something to convicted them. They barely convicted them. Look how slow they getting. They're not gonna hold their own people accountable. The reason why they got hold because they was forced. Because this was gonna put a bad image. Hey man, I'm gonna close, man. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Y'all have a nice and blessed day and keep winning.
Shout out to Dre, man. I appreciate you for pulling up, my brother, for sure, all the time. Yeah, man, we're gonna wrap this one up, man. I think I didn't say it enough, man. Chud the Builder was walking around antagonizing people, harassing people. You cannot compare that to Karmelo Anthony. Let's take it a step further. It's not Austin's Metcalf job to tell someone where they can and cannot sit. That's why you got security. That's security guards. That's their job. It's the security guard's job to tell someone where they can and cannot sit. You cannot put your hands on someone. It is not your job to physically remove anybody. Austin Metcalf is no one in authority to physically remove someone. That's not his job. If somebody tells you, if somebody warns you, hey, man, don't put your hands on me, and you're still in their face and you're still being aggressive, and they tell you, hey, man, if you put your hands on me again, you're going to see what's going to happen. The person who's saying that is defending themselves. They're saying, if you do this again, there's consequences. I don't want you in my space. I don't want you putting your hands on me. The only time you say that is when you're defending yourself. The same thing if a bully walks up to you and a bully pushes you, right? And you tell the bully, hey, man, you push me again, this is what's going to happen. You're defending yourself. You're not the instigator, right? You're responding to the physical threat that's right in front of you. Hey, man, don't put your hands on me. If you put your hands on me again, there's consequences. That's a person who's defending themselves. Or if I'm being confronted, I stab somebody once and run off, I did that out of fear. Now, if it was my plan to unalive you, I'm going to hit you multiple times. I'm not going to hit you once and run off. That's not premeditated. That's somebody who was scared. That's somebody who was defending themselves. You hit on once and run off. You did it out of fear. That's exactly what that is. Somebody who's not scared, they're going to hit you multiple times to get rid of you. Trust and believe, homie, I understand the difference. So when you think about first-degree murder, that's bogus. The fact that they're even trying to get first-degree murder shows you how ridiculous and bogus these people are. Somebody confronts me and put their hands on me, and you're gonna say that it was premeditated, that I harmed this person, that I took their life. I warned them to not touch me. I told them to get out of my space. Listen. You have the right to tell somebody to not put their hands on you. You have the right to tell somebody to get out of your personal space. You have the right to say that. And let's say they continue to violate your space. They continue to put their hands on you after you told them not to. Well, you have the right to do whatever you have to do to defend yourself at that point. Because I warned you to not put your hands on me. I told you to get out of my personal space. You're not a security guard. It ain't your job to tell somebody where they can and cannot sit. Austin Metcalf is no security guard. He should have got security if it was such a problem that Karmelo was sitting there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If somebody say, hey, man, don't put your hands on me, and you continue to violate their space, and then you put your hands on them again, well, you got to deal with the consequences. You can't tell somebody how to respond. Especially when you've been warned to not put your hands on them, especially when you've been warned to move out of their personal space. You've been warned. Now, I bet money none of these bozos hit the link. If you disagree with me right now, bring your big bad ass up here and hit the link and speak on things from your perspective. I'm going to destroy your argument. I'm going to tear your argument apart. If you disagree with anything, the time to hit the link is now. Pull up and speak on things from your perspective. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me what I'm wrong about. If I warn you to not put your hands on me and you continue to do it, well, then you can't complain about the way that I respond, because I told you don't be putting your hands on me. I told you to get out of my personal space. I warned you. Like I said, if it was such a problem that Karmelo was sitting there, they should have got security guards. They should have got the security team. It ain't Austin Metcalf's job to physically move anybody. It ain't his job to put his hands on anyone. Yeah, I know you ain't gonna hit the link. Ashley, go ahead. You got the floor. Ashley.
Ah, you finally got me on. I've been sitting here waiting.
Go ahead. Speak on
Okay.
it.
Well, I'll start off first things first. All right. How did this whole thing happen? How someone got killed? Someone brought a knife. Give me a school that you're allowed to bring a knife to. Just give me a school, any school on school events that they say, yep, knives, we're allowed it. You can have it.
We're not talking about the knife. You can argue that all day. Well, he shouldn't have the knife, right? You could say that all
Well,
day.
hey, okay, but how do you? All right, how did Austin? How did Austin die?
Hold on. Let's say, okay, he shouldn't have the knife. People carry knives and guns every day. It doesn't mean that they're trying to kill somebody just because they have the knife on them. That doesn't mean anything, So let's say, okay, arrest them for the knife. But guess what? If you violate somebody's space and put your hands on them after you were told not to, and you continue to violate their personal space, you can't control how people respond to that. Austin Metcalf is no. I'm gonna pass it back to you. Austin Metcalf is no security guard. If it was such a problem that Karmelo was sitting there, they should have got security.
All right. Now let me ask you this. I know it's not on school grounds, but you have a front yard, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you put up a tent in that front yard. You and your friends are around there. I happen to walk up in that tent. Are you telling me you're just going to walk up and say, excuse me, can you please leave? If you don't, I'm going to call the cops and you're not going to do nothing to hurt me? Is that what you're saying?
No, the difference is Karmelo doesn't. The difference is Austin doesn't own that tent. You can't compare a tent at a public school to your personal.
That was
hold on.
From what I read, that was his school tent.
Hold on. I'm gonna pass it back to you. You said if I put a tent in front of my house, that's where I live. That's my house. You cannot compare that to a public school where people pull up and sit down. People from the opposite teams always come to each other's side. It happens all the time. So you can't compare somebody sitting in my tent in front of my house to somebody sitting at a tent at a public school.
All right. So if you're on a team, you can just walk over to the other team's football team if you want, sit on their sideline, do whatever you want to do, and not have any repercussions.
They should have got security. It all goes back to what I said. If it was such a problem that Karmelo was there, they should have got security to remove him. It's not Austin. It's not Austin Metcalf's job to pretend like he's security or he's someone in authority. That's not his job to physically remove anyone. That's not his job. They should have got security if it was such a problem.
Well, where is security? You can't always blame security. All right, so the school, who do they have doing their security? Do they have a security there?
They had police there. Police was there. Security is there. So like I said, if it was such a problem that Karmelo was sitting there, they should have got security to remove him.
Okay, but still in the sense, okay, if he didn't have the knife, if he would have just threw fists, we'd be having a whole different story here. Wouldn't we?
Okay. White people raised millions of dollars for George Zimmerman, right?
We're not talking about George Zimmerman.
I'm talking about that. You guys brought up Chud. I'm talking about that. I'm using this as an example because it fits. It falls in the same category. They said George Zimmerman had the right to shoot Trayvon Martin because Trayvon put his hands on him. So they justified George Zimmerman shooting a teenager because, Trayvon put his hands on him. Well, Austin was warned to not put his hands on Karmelo. He did it again. So if you're going to justify George Zimmerman for shooting Trayvon Martin, then of course you could justify Karmelo using lethal force because he asked this person to not put their hands on him.
Okay. The other thing that you said, Karmelo is a lot smaller than this guy. How many little guys do you see that try provoking big guys saying, yeah, F you, I'm not going to move, come at me. Go ahead, see what happens.
That's not provoking a situation. If you confront me, I'm not provoking anything. If you get in my face and tell me where I can and cannot sit, you have no authority. You're not the security. You're not a part of the security team. Then you bothered that man. You're making it seem like Karmelo went up to him and antagonized him. No, Austin got in Karmelo's face. Austin tried to tell Karmelo where he can and cannot sit when we all know that Austin is no security guard. It's not his job. If it was such a threat that Karmelo was there, they should have got security, period.
Karmelo was under a tent he shouldn't have been under.
Okay, that's more reason for you to get security to remove him if it's such a problem. That's not your job to physically remove nobody. You're a damn athlete. You're not a damn security guard. If it was such a problem, they should have got security, period.
Why'd Karmelo sit underneath that tent to begin with?
That's
Why? Why
you
couldn't
can
he go
ask
sit
Karmelo,
underneath the other one? Why couldn't he sit on the bleachers? Why couldn't he walk into school?
You can make an argument about why was he sitting there, right? That's a good question. You could ask Karmelo, hey buddy, why was you sitting there, right? But it still doesn't excuse the fact that you cannot physically remove somebody if you're not a security guard. That's not your job as an athlete. It's not. It's not your job to do that.
One thing I haven't been able to find a fact on, what event was Karmelo there for? Was he there for an event?
Yes, he was there for an event. That's already proven. He was there for an event. The guy's an athlete. You already know that athletes show up to events, track meets, football games, basketball games. That's what athletes do. They show up to sporting events.
Yeah, they show up, but I'm saying, was he there just to show up or was he there to compete?
I don't know if he was there to compete or if he was just showing up to support somebody who was there. I don't have those facts right there. You know, so I don't know if he was showing up to compete or if he was just supporting somebody that he knew. I don't know. I can't give you the details when it comes to that. You know, I don't know. I would have to look into it to get that answer. But all I'm saying is, it's not your job to physically remove somebody as an athlete. That's why you got security guards, right? You know.
Yeah, but it's also not your job to sit where you think you feel like it.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say, okay, he shouldn't sit there, right? Okay, well, this is why you have security guards to remove people who shouldn't be in a particular space.
For every action, there's going to be a reaction. You sit in the wrong spot. Someone says, hey, you can't be here. Please move. They say, fuck you. I'm not going to do it. Then they say, I said, please move. I don't like you being here. Actions, it just leads up. All he could have said was, when they asked, please move, okay, where would you like me to move to? Why did it have to go to such violence?
This is the thing. You don't know what Austin said to Karmelo. You don't know what took place. All we know is he confronted Karmelo. You don't know if he was hostile. You don't know. But what we do know is he was asked not to put his hands on him. He said, hey, man, don't put your hands on me. If you do it again, there's problems. So my thing is this. You can't tell me where I can and cannot sit. Because guess what? I went to some of these sporting events. I had friends who played on the opposite team. I went over there to sit at the opposite team side, right? And if it was a problem, it wasn't the player's job to confront me. Security would tell me I can't sit over there. It's not the athlete's job to physically remove somebody. Hey, man, you can't sit here, like you gonna bully me and tell me where I can and cannot sit. If it was such a problem that Karmelo was there, they should have got security. It's not your job to take matters in your own hand as an athlete.
But you just expect security to be in all those right spots at the right time.
That's what they have, walkie-talkies. They could have radioed to security. He said, all right, you don't want to move, we'll get security, bro. It's simple as that. They could have radioed the security guards to remove Karmelo. It is not Austin's job to physically remove anybody. He's not a damn security guard. He's an athlete.
All right, with what you just said right there, if no one's around him has a radio, who's going to radio security?
The same way they get security. I've been to these events. He could have went to the coach. Austin could have went to his coach, and the coach could have radioed security to have this person removed. Coaches have radios. They could radio security easily. Hey, man, we got some people over here who shouldn't be here. Security, please remove these people. That was not Austin Metcalf's job to physically remove anybody. He's not a security guard. He's a damn athlete.
Yeah, and so is Karmelo. Why couldn't Karmelo go get a guard and say, hey, these people aren't letting me stay underneath this tent?
They have the problem. Karmelo didn't have the problem. They found a problem with Karmelo. So if you're the one with the problem, it's your job to go get security to remove this person. I'm not going to go get security because I'm sitting somewhere when no one told me that I can't sit here. You're the one that got a problem with me sitting here. So it's your job to get security if it's such a problem that I'm sitting here.
But again, you think it's okay to just go sit under wherever you think you can and not have any problem. And that's the whole we're going round and round in circle.
I'm not saying
you just go, yep, I can go and sit, and that's fine.
I'm not saying he should have sat there. What I'm saying is if it was such a problem, they should have got security. I'm not saying he should have.
You don't need security if you know where to sit.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know why he sat over there. I would have to speak to him to know why he sat over there. But like I said, if it was such a problem, they should have got security. And security will determine if he could sit there or not. It's not your job to play police officer or security as a damn athlete. That ain't your job, man. That's not your job. It's not your job. People want to see you play football. They don't want to see you playing security guard like you got the authority to physically remove someone. I can sit wherever I want to sit. Now, if it's a problem that I'm sitting there, get the security guards to remove me. That's all I'm saying.
You shouldn't have to have security. Common sense would tell you that, but apparently it seems like you had none.
Apparently you have none because you keep making excuses for Austin pretending to be a security guard. You keep making excuses for that. That's not his job. Can we agree that it's not Austin's job to physically remove anybody? Can we agree?
Well, how did we get to that point beforehand? Karmelo sat down in a spot he shouldn't have been.
We already got past that. He sat there. Let's say he shouldn't be sitting there, right? Let's say I agree with you that he shouldn't sit there, right? But it's still not Austin's job to physically remove him. That's security guard. That's for the security guards to determine if he can and cannot sit there. It's not your job.
But why do you need security if you know that it's not right?
A lot of things, the way that this country was built wasn't right. This country was built on racism and not giving people fair opportunities and not giving people's real justice. This country was built on racism and division. And who created that racism and division? White people. Who stole the land in this country? White people. Who burned down towns? Who burned down Tulsa, Oklahoma? Who burned down Wilmington? Who burned down towns and cities because they were jealous of the people who were once slaves? White people. And none of those whites were held accountable. None of those whites were ever brought to justice for burning down towns. And these black folks were just minding their business, building their communities with no reparations and no handouts from the government. And guess what? White people burnt it, and it was sanctioned by the American government. White supremacists. That is a fact. So don't give me no crap about fair. Nothing is fair about America and how it was built and how it was ran from the inception. Nothing was fair about this country. So we can't talk about fair. Fair has nothing to do with the foundation of this country.
It's funny you mention a whole bunch of stuff that whites have done, but yet you have yet to mention one single thing a black person has done that you can say, yep, this person, they deserve what they got.
Listen, black people never enslaved white people. White people have enslaved others and took people's land. Black people never created laws to oppress anybody in this country. White people have. So there's no comparison, sir.
Black people enslaved black people. What do you got to say about them?
Black people owned slaves, right? Guess what? It protected black people because they wouldn't sell slaves off like the white man did. And they would never get to see their family members again. So it goes back to what I said. Whites have never been oppressed in this country. Blacks never created laws to oppress white people. White people never had to live under Jim Crow laws. White people haven't been through anything in this country. You've never been oppressed. Nobody has ever created laws to oppress you as a white man in this country. But guess what? White men have created laws to oppress people in this country. That's the major difference.
Well, let me ask you this. We've had a black president. If we've had a black president, how come he didn't just, from day one, flip the whole thing and say, well, I'm going to put all blacks number one, whites number two, and fucking change the whole world? Why didn't he do it?
Barack Obama is not a foundational black American. He's an immigrant.
He's black. He was the first black president.
Black people, no. He was handpicked, and I'm going to tell you why. Barack Obama is not a foundational black American, so he's not going to do things in the best interest of foundational black Americans. That's why they made Barack Obama the president. They'll never let somebody be a president who's a foundational Black American that's going to look out for the best interests of the people. They're not going to do it. Barack Obama is a foreigner. He's not a foundational Black American. He's not. Barack Obama has done more for immigrants and LGBTQ people. He's done nothing for foundational Black Americans. So we can't even use him as an example.
I call a bunch of BS on you.
Well, no, it's the truth. Barack Obama is not a foundational Black American. That's 100% correct. He's not a foundational Black American, bro. He's not. You can't get somebody from another country who don't share our experiences in this country and think that he's going to represent us to the fullest or that's going to even speak in our best interest. Barack Obama is not a foundational Black American, so he doesn't count. So anyway, man, hit the like button, man. Shout out to everybody that's tapped in for the show today. You know, it is what it is, man. It's King Supreme. Hopefully you guys like the stream. I'm going to get up out of here, though, man. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Yeah, man, Barack Obama ain't no foundational Black American, man. That dude is a straight foreigner, man. Barack Obama was a puppet. See, he's a Black man. 99.9% of all presidents were white men. And then you got the nerve to say that this country is fair. Nothing about America is fair. This country wasn't built on being fair and giving equal opportunity. Nah, this country was not built on that. And you can't, and you know I'm telling the truth. Fair had nothing to do with this country or how it was built. You can't cheat for 4 quarters and then say, well, the playing field is even now. White people want to tell you that America is fair and everybody has the same opportunities. Guess what? The white man had a 300+ year head start. And now he want to tell you that everything is fair. That's like playing a basketball game, right? And a basketball game is 4 quarters. Black people, we done scored a whole lot of points in the first 3 quarters. We go into the 4th quarter with 0. White people go into the 4th quarter with 200 points. And then they turn around and say, well, it's fair now. If you shoot the basketball, your points account. But hold on, I scored a lot of points in the first 3 quarters and none of that counts. I don't have no points on the scoreboard going into the 4th quarter, but you got the nerve to tell me that everything is fair now in the 4th quarter. I got 0. You go into the 4th quarter with 300 points. That's exactly what they're telling you. Well, it's fair now. No, the hell it's not. You cheated for 3 quarters. Now going into the 4th quarter or the 400 year, well, it's even. Now you have the same opportunity after you cheated for 300+ years. But now you want to tell me that everything is somehow fair. Everybody has the same opportunities. Man, please, who you think you talking to? Oh man, listen, man, it's King Supreme, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. I need everybody to support this content in a major way. You know, I was cooking on this thing, man. Barbecuing, put them in a barbecue pit, put them in a grill. Yeah, you cheat for 3 quarters and we go into the 4th quarter and you tell me it's even, but you don't count none of the points that we made for 3 quarters. You go into the 4th quarter with 300 points. We go into the 4th quarter with 0, even though we scored a lot of points in the first 3 quarters. But the white man want to tell you that everything is even now. Everything is fair. Man, please. Anyway, man, hit the like button if you haven't already. We're going to clip that part right there, man. We're going to clip that part and we're going to make some shorts out of this. And we're going to show you how these white supremacists have no logic. It's all based on that, hey, man, on white and I say so. Never mind the fact that it doesn't make sense. I'm white and I say so, so just roll with it. That's the mentality of a white supremacist. We know we cheated you for 300+ years first. We cheated you guys for 300+ years, but guess what? Everything is fair now, so stop complaining because everything is fair now. Oh, man. Hit the like button if you haven't already. The game is so heavy, baby. I told you, man. I told you King Supreme gonna come through with the smoke, man. I ain't no joke. I'm a verbal assassin. I'm surgical with this thing, man. I'm talking about the microphone. Peace, love, and blessings, giving you gain to keep you from stressing. It's King Supreme. I'm gone.